Okay, I believe we are live, and I am joined tonight by friend Jarrod Alberich, otherwise known as the yard sale artist. Oh, I forgot to mute my. I forgot to mute mine. Okay, so it's muted now. I am here with Jarrod Alberich, otherwise known as the yard sale artist, and Pat, who is the host of a podcast known as the Longbox Crusade. He's going to be monitoring chat for Jarrod and I while we draw tonight and field questions for us. Should anybody have any questions, or even if himself has a question. So, guys, Jarrod, would you like to say hello?
Well, hello, folks. As John said, I am Jarrod Alberich, the yard sale artist, and I'm looking forward to doing a little drawing, a little chatting tonight, my friend.
Very good. Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm John. As John said, I'm Pat Sampson, host of the Longbox Crusade. There with Jarrod as well too. I'm here to watch some awesome people make some drawings.
All right. And when is the Longbox Crusade? Have you got a schedule for that, Pat?
It's usually we have something out probably every week. We try to get something out around Saturdays.
All right. So that's a good time to check is Saturday.
Check out the feed. Yep.
Right. And I'm guessing you have a few already in the queue that people could go back and listen to.
Yeah, that's correct. We have quite a lot. Been about 2 years, I think, we've been doing this, me and Jarrod.
Okay. Sounds good. What I'm going to be doing tonight is doing the black ink work on a flash drawing from the Netflix series that I'm going to watercolor. So we'll see how far I get on this. And Jarrod, what are you going to be working on?
I've just started working on the ink work for a dead shot. Let's see if I can get that to my camera. You see that, Pat?
Yeah, I can make that out.
Okay, yep. Cool.
Yeah,
I did a real rough sketch dead shot a little earlier today so that I could work on the ink work for today's show.
All right. And mine is a very light drawing because I don't pencil dark. I know it's not good, the best thing for the camera. So it may look like magic as I'm inking, like I'm the Kim Jong, who not Kim Jong,
the other guy from North Korea.
Well, the gentleman who can take a sketch cover or a wall and just start with a brush or a pen and draw with no underdrawing or anything, and just kill it every time. The guy's incredible.
Wish I could do that.
Yeah, it's a real talent. All right, so don't everybody speak up at once. But hey,
I'm just making sure the chat's going, and I got everything set up here. So
okay. And visually, everything is clear and
correct,
visible. Boy, yeah. Jarrod did get quiet, Pat.
Yeah, I know. Boy, that's
unusual for him.
Yes, he must be concentrating now.
Don't bother me.
Oh. All right, don't bother Jarrod.
Now, how long have you guys known each other?
2 years now, Jarrod.
Oh, come now, my friend. Come.
Has it been 2? Has it been more than?
It's been, I want to say, going on 4.
No.
Yeah. It's been a minute, dude.
Boy.
I know. I'm glad to see I'm so memorable.
No, I honestly thought it had not been that long.
Oh, yeah, because when we met at the DeLand Comic and Toy Show in DeLand, Florida, wow. I hadn't even started an art career yet.
And why is that? I thought you had.
No, I just was on the precipice of starting, and then after we met in DeLand, I started doing more art shows because somebody encouraged me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, encouragement is good.
Mm-hmm. Some guy, and I can't remember who it was.
Gorby.
Yeah, it was Brad Gorby. That's who it was.
Yeah, because you got those nice paintings from him.
Yes, Brad has done some wonderful paintings for me. He's a very talented. Brad Gorby's a very talented guy.
If only he knew it.
Yes.
Am I right?
You are right.
Yes, I saw him again in Cincinnati. A rare sighting of the Geebster.
Now, John, that flash that you're working on, is that a commission?
Yes and no. How's that for an answer? It is a piece that I'm doing for a friend that donated to a GoFundMe that I have going for. And this was not set up for anybody watching this. This is an honest question from Pat. For my wife's father, my father-in-law in the Philippines, who unfortunately passed away about 2 weeks ago. He had stage 4 liver cancer, and there was really nothing they could do.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was, and it still is. It's a rough time right now. We are trying to, well, I got to get to Washington, D.C. So she can get her passport renewed so that she can then go over. So it's a bit of a financial, bit of a strain right now. Because just a trip to Washington, D.C. is not going to be cheap.
Right. Let alone.
Yeah, then the flight and everything. So. So, yeah, I had a thing that, you know, make a nice donation, which my buddy did, and I would do a drawing. And so he picked out, this is actually for a friend of his. So hopefully it's still a secret because I don't know who the friend is, but it's going to be a Christmas gift from him.
Very cool.
That's cool, man.
And so I've been looking at a few people's work lately in the watercolor field because I've always been a frustrated watercolors.
Oof, tell me about it.
Yeah, I am. And so my friend Andrew Robinson is a fantastic, not only artist, but painter, and can use any media that, you know, that he sets his mind to or that he picks up, really. So he's one of those guys that, you know, can pretty much do it all. And I've always been a big fan of his work, and I actually got a few tips from him last night about some watercolor stuff. So I'm gonna try to take baby steps. So if this fails, just won't use watercolor anymore.
Put the blame on me and Pat.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you know, it's like this is a learning experience. So, you know, if it's successful, I'll continue. If it's not successful, I'll probably continue again because it'll be one of those things that I want to conquer. Or conquer is such a big word, but I at least want to experiment with a bit more because, like I said, there's another guy that I've really been looking at, and his name is Matteo Scalera, I believe, and he's doing not so much watercolors, but these beautiful ink wash drawings. And I've always been a big fan of ink wash. And, you know, he really just is, you know, just killing with them.
I've always been frustrated by watercolor myself, my friend. skill I wish I had. I'm envious of people who have it.
We do have someone joined us in the chat room.
Okay.
Mike Cross.
Oh, yes. How you doing tonight, Mike? Is this a better time for you?
Mike wants to know, who are you guys drawing today?
Go ahead, John.
Well, I was waiting for you.
Oh, well, I am currently working on a animated style, put up to the camera, Deadshot.
And I am working on you're not going to be able to see it because my pencils are light, since it's going to be a finished watercolor, hopefully. A Netflix version of the character Flash, the Flash. I don't know who the actor is. I'm not really trying for a likeness, just kind of an overall feel of the suit and, whatever sets him apart from the regular DC Universe Flash.
Mike says anytime is a good time.
Yeah, Mike's a good guy.
It's not my father, Mike, is it?
No, I would hope not.
Hey, Dad.
Unless your father lives in Nova Scotia.
Close. He lives close to Canada.
Really?
He lives in Whidbey Island, Washington State. You can actually see Canada from there.
Well, wait a minute. Maybe I got the wrong, province up there or something?
Oh, don't expect me to know provinces. Mike's probably really disappointed in us right now. But
yeah, well, he lives on the Middle East Coast somewhere. He'll tell you. When Pat gets that information, I'm sure he will zap it our way.
You bet.
So, always count on that.
Unless Mike's hiding now and doesn't want to say anything else. Because it's, the Canada thing. Whatever that means. It doesn't really mean anything, to tell the truth. And Mr. Cross and I, we go way back to my early days of streaming on Ustream. That's how I got to meet him. Actually, I think it was even before that. It was a commission piece and then Ustreaming, and then he finally made it to Heroes Con a couple of years in a row, 2 in a row or something. Mike, I'd like you to know that Jarrod did Heroes Con this past year, and he had a really good and amazing time.
I did, and our moderator Pat Sampson was there with me the whole time.
Yeah, it was a really awesome experience. It was actually my first big con like that, so it was really cool to see.
Yeah, it is a nice one. It's very comics. It's still, people will always say, I always hear this, that Heroes Con and Baltimore are like really the 2 remaining true comics convention, where the emphasis is on comics and comic artists and creators.
Yeah, not necessarily media guests.
Exactly.
Yep.
Mike says that Atlantic Coast, Nova Scotia, is the closest state is Maine.
Yeah. So my parents are on the other end of the country.
They're in Washington State, did you say, Jarrod?
Yes.
Mike says he's had another artist tell him that Baltimore was a great comic show.
Yeah, it is. The guest list on that is also just huge.
How long have you been going to cons? Both of you.
Myself, I've been going to them about as long as I've been in the business, which I started in 1980. So there was a time when, of course, there wasn't as many conventions as there are now. So it was, it was kind of more of an event when you did a show. Now on any given weekend, there's 4 or 5. And some of them, especially in the summer months, are the major shows. And Jarrod has been he's been keeping pace.
I've been doing this for about 4 years now.
Shows?
Yeah.
How long have I known you?
About 4 years, John. About 4 years. I started off just getting a commission from John. And then we just started chatting, and I'll come down and see you at your next show. And so, you know, we're best friends forever.
What was that commission?
It was a James Bond piece.
Cool.
John's given me a lot of neat stuff over the years, though. I've got some cool Captain Americas from him and some Batmans.
But those are in the he can't show them.
That's right. They're the secret vault, because John doesn't like them.
Yes.
It's Jarrod's special museum of John's rejected art. But if you saw them, you'd be like, what are you talking about? These are really good. But...
Well, you know, that's nice of you and everything, but you know how it goes. You do a piece, you get it done, and it either hits you right away, or you look at it the next morning or later that day and you're like, you know, that's not quite it.
Actually, that's never happened to me.
Well,
you know, your quality control is tighter than mine.
Yeah, but you know,
that's not true. Actually, I can think of a couple pieces I've just balled up and thrown away and started over.
Wow. Now, see, that's news to me. I
try to keep that part of me away from you, but you know, we're being honest on tonight's live stream.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I get it. You know, I told you about the struggle.
You did. Most of the things you told me came true.
Most of them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Remember, you told me about how, you know, it can become very work after a while. You have to get motivated. You also told me I'd never amount to anything, that I should stop trying now. Okay, I might have made those up.
I believe so. That's so I don't want you to tarnish my reputation.
No. John has been a very good friend to me. I tell anybody who will listen, been a very good friend, very encouraging. I'm happy to have you, man.
Well, you know, I told you when I first saw what you were doing,
mm-hmm.
that to me, you know, it was interesting because it was, you know, not the normal thing that, you know, what set you apart was that your stuff was different because you painted on all these different substrates and
mm-hmm. Still do.
Right. And that, you know, you had something to offer that was unique in a sense. And that sense is, you know, your various, like I said, substrates from metal to mirrors to what? Fabric.
I mean, anything I can find in the yard sale.
Yeah, desktops. I mean, is there, you know, if paint can go on it, I think you've probably.
Yeah, I probably painted on it.
Yeah. So, you know, that was what I took from it, that, wow, you know, this is really cool because this guy is actually taking something and making, you know, making a piece of art out of something he either, you know, picked up at a garage sale, found in the trash or by the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, I don't know, very unique. And I, you know, it was a great idea. I think the thing that, and I'm not sure if you had the piece, when we first met, because you know, my memory's not as good as yours, apparently. Maybe it's just that I'm a little tired. No excuses, just, you know, facts. The Silver Surfer mirror. I just thought that was one of the most clever things I had ever seen. And I told you that, and I'd never seen that before. I don't know if, here's my fun part, I don't know if you had stolen that from somebody. Like maybe you saw it. And
no, that's a Jarrod original.
Oh, now see you. Okay, I was setting myself up for a nice pun, but I'm going to go ahead and redo the. I don't know, the Silver Surfer mirror. I don't know if you had stolen that from somebody, or maybe I should rephrase it and say that you had mirrored something you had seen.
Oh, let's all take a minute to reflect on that.
Oh, yes. Yes. Let's be quite transparent about what we're doing.
Oh, funny guy. He's a funny guy.
Well, it got me through school. That and being able to draw a little bit.
Oh, I did actually a second mirror Silver Surfer, but I still like the first one best. But
the first one was better, yes.
The second one actually got sold at Heroes Con by Pat and I's mutual friend, Dave Collins, Old Bin One.
Okay, so good. I mean, those things seem to be good.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I don't think you should.
Just want to chime in here. Mike says, I guess it goes without saying that Zablo has gotten something Stallone from Jarrod.
Right. Now that would be Pat.
Yeah.
That would be Zablo.
Zablo. I'm sorry. I'm already.
No. But I will allow you to call him Zablo because I like it. And you're not the first person, of course, to.
That's a cool name.
It is. And to answer Mike's question, that is 100% correct. I did a Rambo piece early on in my foray into the art world, and I put it on Facebook, and Mr. Zablo picked it right up. And so, yeah. And now, like, there's other Rambo pieces that I want to draw, but every time or not Rambo, but Stallone in general, I want to draw, but every time I sit down to one, I think, am I just drawing a bill for Craig? So, I'm like, well, I'll wait on that because I feel bad if I'm just drawing a bill for Craig.
Well, he's a tough cookie to get money out of.
That is true. That is true. He is wise with his funds.
Well, I would say he is wise to a degree.
Uh-oh. This is the Talk About Craig episode.
No. It's just, he's also, well, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, are we having fun yet?
We are. I got a question for Pat.
Sure.
How many John Beatty autographed comics do you own?
I would say I would have over a handful right now.
Yeah, John, all those ones that you signed for me, all those G.I. Joes in Montgomery, I sent them all to Pat. So,
I thought those were for your brother. That's what you told me.
No, Jason got the Secret Wars ones that you did.
Oh, okay.
Speaking about covers, John, I noticed that you had, and looking through on Mike's Amazing World of Comics, I saw that you had inked some Impact comic covers.
Oh.
Yes, actually, I did. That's when Michael Golden was the editor of the Impact line at DC, and he brought me in because he liked my clean, brushy look and thought it would be good for certain covers and stuff. One of the interesting things is a couple years ago, I met Jay Lee at a convention, and his style has so drastically changed, but I love what he does. I was always a fan of Jay Lee. From the first time I saw his work, I liked it, but then he really developed into this monster talent. And so at a show, I made a, you know, I made a effort to get to see him, to go over and shake his hand and, you know, talk to him for a little bit. And he would have had like 5 sketches done now in this time that I'm still just dinking around with this mask, trying to, you know, to get it perfect. Anyway, you know, we had a nice little talk and exchanged an email, you know, and I can't remember how the conversation started, but he sent me a JPEG about a couple months after the show, and it was from I actually have the color guide somewhere over in my office here, to a cover that I inked over him, and I actually did the color guides too. So it was really funny when I found that, but I'd already seen it. We had both forgotten that I had inked a cover over him that many years ago.
For Impact?
Yes. I think there may have been a comic called The Web or something like that.
That was one of them, and also some of the comic or the comment.
Yeah, I don't know what issue. I can't remember. Like I said, I can't really get up and get it right now, and it may not even be where I left it. But for some reason, I think Michael Golden sent me it's like the separations. You know, it's like an overlay. You have your black plate, and then your other colors, your other 3 colors for a 4 color print job. And Golden had done a few things, written on it a bit, like to reverse the type out and stuff like that. So it's an interesting thing to see, in a sense. I mean, you know, it's interesting to a degree. I'm not going to say it's the most interesting thing in the world, but if you've never seen one, it's interesting. So
Pat would love it. Pat's a huge fan of the Impact line.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been collecting them I got them when I was younger as a kid, and so I needed to reestablish that collection again. And I'm looking at, we'll see. Hopefully, we can kind of do a podcast on that.
I'm gonna talk about one at least.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me. I believe the art. Mike Parabek got his start doing Impact Comics, and he had quite the animation type style, you know, very linear, clean, and very beautiful. And unfortunately, I believe he was diabetic and passed away at an early age. I know if you Googled him, you would find the information, but very sad, because he was very talented and he was, you know, well suited for and I guess that was for young readers or all ages or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. But like I said, just, you know, his drawing style was just almost ahead of his time. I'm trying to remember if there was anybody working in comics that was kind of similar to him or had that, you know, real simple, nice style. And I'm trying to remember now, and I don't think I did ever have a chance to ink anything over him. But again, it could be like that Jay Lee thing where, you know, I'm totally forgetting something.
We've been friends for 4 years, Jim.
You and Jay?
No, me and
you. You and me?
Yeah. I do love Jay Lee, though. I'll toss that in there. I love. I've got several of his original pages from the Gunslinger stuff he did. I think it's so great.
You have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hate you.
Well, you know, I'll be willing to rent you a few.
You mean just to hang them here in my office?
Yeah.
And make sure that nothing happens to them?
Exactly.
Uh-oh. I think I got a little straggling hair here on this brush.
I hate it when that happens.
I do too. Especially right. Okay, I think I got it. I know I got ink on my fingernails, so.
Well, speaking about the equipment you're using, the
Mhm.
brushes, can you kind of give us a little?
Yeah. I'm actually using a Raphael. Let's see, what do I got right now? Raphael Kalinsky sable hairbrush. It's a number 3, and it's the 8404. It's got the orange butt. Some of them do have a tan butt, but the orange ones are the ones that I think are of better quality. And I'm using, this is, let's see, I think I'm using Holbein ink now, which comes in a nice little plastic thing like this. But I also use this Winsor Newton ink that comes with like this little spider guy on the bottle. So I go kind of back and forth between those two. They're very dense. They are thin enough to work through a brush where they don't get gunky, and they go through a pen nib very nice too. And the watercolor paper I'm using is some Strathmore, like I think it's a 130 pound or something, which is pretty much, I guess, if not heavier, the equivalent of 2-ply Bristol board, which is fairly standard for working on. Let's see, well, it's 140 pound watercolor cold press. So it's got quite a tooth to it, and that's, I'm not used to inking on it, and but that's not an excuse, because when you get into the watercolor, that's when it'll really do what it's supposed to do. I should probably be zipping through this drawing faster, but as I said, I'm just into watercolors, and I haven't even got to the watercolor yet, so I want to at least make sure my black line that I'm going to apply and this is not going to be like a, let's say, fully watercolor. It's going to be like a line art watercolor deal. So, I'm not trying to do, I would say like, it will be a painting, but Jarrod, you have a huge vocabulary in that head of yours.
I would say you're doing a watercolor, almost a minimalist watercolor.
Well, no.
All right. Well, don't ask me for help then.
Well, it's not minimalist. It's just it's the black line is going to play an important part. It's not just me going in and doing. I guess that's, yeah. It's just not me going in and doing watercolor.
Well, guys, I want to welcome Green Lantern HG to the chat room.
What up, Green Lantern?
That's a flash.
Hey, what's up, Green Lantern?
It's one of our podcast listeners.
I believe it probably is. I think he was active on Twitter with us last night, wasn't he?
He was.
Well, welcome. I'm glad you can make it.
Memory on you. We've been friends for 4 years.
Yeah.
Me and you, John.
I know that.
Jarrod, what are you working on? What supplies you got?
You've come to the right place. Because as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm known as the yard sale artist, so I do everything almost as cheaply as possible. So let me answer your question. Tonight, I'm working with what I almost always work with, standard. I'm nowhere near as fancy as John. John works with a Raphael brush. I use a Donatello. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's the turtles, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is. I'm using a Sharpie no bleed pen, and I use that for the thinner lines, and I use that to go around the thicker lines that I just use the standard Sharpie for. Standard Sharpie will do a little fuzzy edge, but if you go around the edge with the no bleed, it'll put a harder edge on it, makes it look nice. Any fill work I'll do, which I won't need to do much fill work on this drawing tonight, I would use a larger Sharpie. All these are easy to acquire on the cheap. Most of the Sharpies I get for Christmas and birthday, when people say, what should I get you? I say, just these are the 3 main Sharpies I use. Get me those because I burn through them. and I'm hoping to get to some color tonight. I got this pack of Sharpie color markers in the clearance section. I think it was a Dollar General. I think I paid like $2 or $3 for these Sharpie colors. So I'll be bringing those in.
That's a good buy.
Yeah, it really is. And you probably see me use a couple of French curves tonight. I scored these at a yard sale for $0.25. No joke. And I've got my ruler and my circle patterns, which are also yard sale acquisitions. I probably paid $0.25 for these as well. So it's all yard sale or found on sale. And I just like to do it that way. I like, I mean, it'd be fun to play with really cool professional stuff like John does, but just part of my, like John was saying before, it's kind of part of my persona to get stuff on the cheap. And
well,
kind of make it work.
You know, you've adopted the moniker the yard sale artist, so I'd hate for you to suddenly go into,
professionalism.
Well, no, like I said, part of what you had to offer was, I'm gonna borrow a very good, which you do have is, and from there's a channel called The Future. Leave the E off, and it's ran by Chris Doe and a group of people, and it's something I've been a fan of for quite a while. And I actually got to meet Chris and them last year when I was in LA, and great group of people. But Chris is very, they always mention story. Everybody has a story, and you have to find yours. And so your story is there. I mean, your whole moniker, the way you work, no bones about it. I mean, could you switch out of your story now? Yeah, you could, but is there a reason to? No reason to, right? I mean, so yeah, I mean, your story is solid. People are interested in that. And like I said, that to me was part of the charm of your work was, I remember asking you, well, okay, Mr. Smarty Pants, well, how about that Bristol board? And you're like, yep, found it at a garage sale, paid 50 cents for this whole pad. And then there was some cheaper paper you bought, like a ream or like a box full or something for 50 cents or something. I have no idea. Like, 1,000 sheets or something.
Right? Was that cheap paper like I did the Mario and Sonic? Yeah, I think I found that. It was on its way to the dumpster.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I think that was paper you didn't even pay for, right?
Exactly.
It was like harvested through somebody's trash can or something.
Mm-hmm. It was at my day job, and they were like, "Oh, we don't have a printer that takes this size, so throw it away." And I was like, "Oh, hell no."
And you know what? If you just do warm-up sketches, or if you do sketches that you're going to use a light box on or something, then that kind of paper is perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was designing a CD cover for a friend of mine. Pat, him for Joe T's. We're releasing a CD soon. And I was designing one, and that's exactly the paper I was drawing it on, because I was like, once I get it the way I like it, then I'll light box it on a nicer paper.
Mr. Fancy CD covers.
Mm-hmm. Which is a technique that I didn't even know about until my good friend John Beatty entered my life, and he was like, "Oh yeah, man." He's like, sketch it out and then trace it on a nicer paper using a light box, and then you don't have to burn through really expensive paper if you screw up.
Yeah, no,
like, brilliant.
Green Lantern HG says, "Hello, everybody." So
hello,
hi to you guys.
Hello, Green Lantern HG, dude. I'm so glad you came tonight.
Green Lantern HG, good to see you. Hope you hit that subscribe button.
Yes, don't forget to do that.
Hit the little.
Come after you.
Yeah, hit the little bell. That way, if I have an impromptu, if I'm sitting here in my office alone and go live, you'll be notified, and you can say, you know what? Let's see what John's doing. And right now, I am actually doing ruled lines on this flash symbol.
Oh, that's cool.
With a steel ruler and a brush, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've never done that. I've never done ruled lines with a brush. That's cool, man.
Well, it's it's just one of those things that when people do see this, like if well, I don't really use real ink at a convention anymore, although I would consider it. I have an interesting story about that from 2015, but I can't really go into it because it could get back to the wrong person. But I'll just say I tried. Well, let's just say this. I tried taking real ink to Heroes Con in 2015. And the person sitting next to me was only there Saturday and Sunday, not Friday. And I had a lot of commission work to do on Saturday. And you know how when you're sitting at a table, and even though, you know, you might get like a half an inch or an inch of space in between the tables, you know, especially when I'm using real ink, I try to do that unless I'm sitting next to someone like my exec, who, you know, we know not to bump each other. Accidents do happen, but this person was literally, they were having a good time, so I can't really fault that. But they were slamming their hands down on the table when they were laughing, just literally bang. And the vibration would, of course, push the table over and bump mine. So I had to excuse myself and go back to my room to work for about 4 hours during that show, 4.5 hours, just so that I could work without, you know, number one, having my concentration broke, and number two, having the table shaken on me. Shaken, not stirred.
Yeah.
John Pinto has joined us in the chat room as well.
John Pinto.
John Pinto.
John says Jarrod can just be yard sale artist, but for a better neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, John.
Pinto's bringing the jokes. I like it.
John is, I will tell anybody who will listen to this, John is the best digital artist in the business, in my opinion. He's amazing. What he does with the computer and all that stuff, like, it blows me away. It's everything he does is incredible. If you don't own a John Pinto piece, put it on your list. He's, for the beauty of his work, he's very affordable, and it's just good stuff.
It is. Pinto fan myself. I've known John for a while. I'm glad that he decided to stop in and check us out. And you know, I think we need to have Pinto on the stream one time if he's willing to come on.
I would think that would be very cool.
John, would you be willing to join in on the hijinks one night?
The tomfoolery, the whatnot,
the boredom.
Well, while he's marinating on that, I want to say one more nice thing about him. The very first con I ever did, official Comic Con, was an MGA con, and that was in 2014. I'm pretty sure it's 2014. Yeah. Anyway, it wasn't. It was 2015. Either way. And I was just starting out. I had a couple of paintings. I had some drawings that were terrible. My paintings weren't even that great at the time. I had a lot to learn. And they even accidentally put me over in the vendors area. So I was like this lone artist in the vendors area. And John went out of his way. Pinto went out of his way to come over and talk to me and encourage me. And I've just seen him at many, many cons since then. And he's always got a smile and an encouraging word. And it's something I'll never forget. So thanks, John.
Very cool guy.
Very cool guy.
And John says, I might be persuaded.
All right.
But it sounds like he wants money, so I wouldn't do it.
Hadn't thought of that. He just did get a new house.
Yeah, he wants those Pinto dollars, man.
Pinto beans. That's an old joke. I'm sure he got that all through high school, just like I got beady eyes.
Oh, really? I didn't just invent beady eyes?
No.
Man,
man, come on.
Dude, I thought I was onto something. Now I'm just sad. I'm just sad.
I would be too. I thought I had told you that.
I don't really pay attention when you talk a lot.
Well, I've tended to notice the only time I get attention is if I say, "Hey, I got a convention that I might be able to get you into."
Well, he's not lying, folks. he'll call me or text me, "What's up?" You know, I'm like, "Oh, I'll get back to him." But then if he texts me, "I'm trying to get you to the show, guy," then I call him right back, and he's like, "I was lying. I wasn't trying to get you to the show. So call me back."
Yeah, it works every time.
Yeah, when Sugar Daddy comes calling, man, you got to answer the phone.
Pinto says, "I remember that as well, Jarrod. That was a fun show."
Yeah, it meant a lot to me. So that's awesome. Thanks, John.
What show was that? The MGA?
It was the first year I did MGA. I think the second or
was with me.
No, you and I did it. I think my second time around, or
yeah, and there was no third.
I think you're right. So I think that would have been 2015.
2015.
You and I did the 2016 show because
we did a poster.
Hang on, I'll pull it down. It's right. It's immediately to my left. Here it is. I have it framed on my wall, right next to where I work. Because it's one of the proudest things I've ever done. Because John Beatty inked my work, and that just makes me smile.
Wow, that looks nice in that frame.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We did good work together.
Well, you know.
I just want to say, for those of you that are currently watching, come join us in the chat. Ask these guys a question, and I'll get it out to them.
Okay, so you're beginning to see a little bit of this come together. I'll spin it around this way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, probably working a little slower than normal, but as I told the guys before we went live tonight, I'm kind of on a little bit of a caffeine jag right now, or maybe normally I'm an early riser, so I had a Trenta size iced cold brew from Starbucks with a double shot in it, and it's not the best thing when you're brush inking. And I mean inking. If I was scrubbing big things of, you know, if I was filling in big areas of black or something, no problem. But when I'm trying to keep my line steady and stuff, a little bit of a problem. But I'm working through it. So not that I'm incredibly fast to begin with. And I'm fine with that. Jarrod will tell you.
Yes. Yes. For a couple of years there, I was helping John get back on track with his commissions.
Yes.
I did that for him for almost 2 years. It finally got caught up. He was weighted down with commissions, and I kind of helped get him on a schedule. And he'd be like, "Crack the whip, Jarrod, and remind me." And I'd send him texts, "Hey, you should be working on something today." And he'd be like, "I am. It's the same I was working on yesterday." And I'm like, "Then why aren't you done?"
Because this is the third time I've started. I was going to say, how frustrating was that to you?
Yes.
When I would show you one that was done, and you're like, "Great," and then the next day I'd say, "Jarrod, I
threw it away." Yes.
Speaking of something you should be working on, Jarrod, we have Easy Rooster joined us in the chat. And Easy says,
I don't know.
"Does Yard Sale Artist have any plans to draw a schooner?" He asked for a schooner.
Oh, Easy Rooster. I don't know if I know that guy. Yes, he did ask me to draw a schooner, but
I saw that. I saw that in the Twitters.
Unfortunately, I took Paul Hicks. That's one of Pat and I's podcasting friends from Australia. Hello, Paul. Paul Hicks suggested the dead shot, and I just felt like I'd never drawn dead shot before. Not that I've ever drawn a schooner. I just felt like I was more comfortable doing dead shot. But I do appreciate you tuning in, Easy Rooster.
Mike Cross wants to say, "I've had to yell at Big Beatty before to leave the drawing alone."
Oh, he's a noodler. Beatty's a noodler. He will noodle a drawing forever if you let him.
No, I don't noodle. I'm just a perfectionist. It's a curse.
That's true. It's a blessing and a curse, because it would drive me nuts as I was trying to get him to get his commissions done. But his attention to detail and his level of perfection he demands of himself really shows in the artwork. So he's one of those artists that absolutely worth the wait. Absolutely worth the wait, because he's not going to put a half amount of effort into something just to get it out the door.
I could actually present something funny if you all want to indulge me.
It's your show, brother.
Yeah, of course.
This is kind of embarrassing. you remember Thorsten?
Yeah,
right?
Yes, he was one of your clients from Germany, I think.
And I still have artwork that I have not sent him.
Come on, man.
Well, I got to finish, I think, one commission, a 10-10.
You still haven't done that 10-10? I thought
we had you
caught up. I thought we had you caught up.
Well, just hold on. Thorsten and I had a little conversation, but we haven't had, contact in a while. But what I'm thinking now is if this watercolor thing works out, a 10-10 watercolor would be very sweet.
C'est magnifique.
Now, if I screw this up, it'll just be black and white. But the color 10-10 really, okay. So I'm just going to show so that people know that we are not just telling a lie.
Tall tales, if you will.
Well, okay, let's see. I actually have these numbered, believe it or not.
While you're doing that, John, Easy Rooster wants to say not everyone likes his suggestions. He gets it.
Easy Rooster and I went to high school together. Easy Rooster and I were born on the exact same day.
Really?
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. My father and I shared the same birthday. Okay, so remember Thorsten wanted a spirit commission. This is 11 by 17, so it's
cool.
Okay, so
seems like I've seen a finished spirit once before, though. Like you.
Well, we'll get there. Okay.
Okay.
And as I pan up now, Pat, is this reading backwards? Because I see it.
No, I can see it. Yep.
Okay, so the camera. Okay, so rejected spirit number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this far into the piece,
and I was like, "Oh, he's almost done."
Which is almost finished, and said something about it isn't right. Take 2. I really kind of liked what I had going here, style-wise. Look at this, experimental. I am a big fan of J.C. Leindecker, as I know Mr. Pinto is, and I was kind of trying to figure out, let me do this in a Leindecker-ish with these little bits of white and this type of stuff, and I don't know. I did this, and the next morning I came in to finish it, and I looked at it again, and I said, it's all wrong. And as we can see, this is Rejected Spirit number 2, 2016 on the date.
Mm-hmm.
The date on the rejected number 1 is not there. So I got this far. Nope. I still had the drawing because it was on a piece of just 11 by 17 copy paper. So I could redraw as much as I wanted to. It was just not feeling right about the finish of it.
Green Lantern HG says that's awesome.
Well, thank you. And this one I didn't mark, but this one I got as far as the face, and this is a cuff on the pant leg, and there was just something about it that I think I was really not happy with the face at all. I just kind of ran off the rails and didn't work out. Now, the last one that I'm going to show you is the final version, and it too is dated 2016. But I kind of figured out the J.C. Leindecker kind of style, and it is the final. Let me take it out of this plastic so we will get rid of the glare.
Didn't you mail it to Germany?
Well, I have a few other things to finish for him. So
I know. I'm slipping back into my old role so easily.
I know. Okay. So this was the final that met my expectations of myself, and I don't know if John Pinto is still in the.
Yeah, he's still here, and
Okay.
Pinto says, "John, you're killing me. Those spirit drawings are beautiful."
Aren't they?
Hope you don't mind me calling you Pinto, John.
No, we call him Pinto
Okay.
all the time. Oh, you mean you, Pat, because you don't really know him. I guess. Okay.
Oh.
With multiple Johns, though, it helps to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's Jon. I have the H. He lost his.
He lost his. You found it.
Yep.
He also had another question.
Okay.
He says, John, how would you ink Trenton or Tintin?
I would probably keep it just like Hergé. I would do the clean, I believe he's recognized as what the Europeans call the clean line style, where it's just, it's pretty much dead weight. Although two of my favorite artists that picked the style up and gave it a big juicy brush line are Yves Chalon, who actually got hit by a vehicle and passed away at around age 35, but has this incredible body of work that it's just amazing how much work this guy did, advertising and comics. But yeah, so this is the final piece that will eventually get to Thorsten, and I kind of figured out a line deckerish way to handle the in ink. So I want to revisit this style again, and I'm also a big fan of Sergio Topi, who does a lot of different textures and leaves stuff like the whites open in the black areas, and great use of negative shape, Sergio. Anyway, so it was Yves Chalon and also Serge Clerc. And they were a big influence on my brush work, although they were very cartoony. And anytime I tried to kind of push that style into mainstream comics, it was not really accepted that well. So I had to, kind of just do it on my own personal projects and whatnot.
Just want to say from the chat, we got Easy Rooster says, this is really great stream. He's loving it.
Oh, cool.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thanks, dude.
Feel free to subscribe, Easy. And that way you can always catch us whenever I'm on by myself or on with some guests. I plan on sharing as much as I can. And getting people on here and involved and, just having a good time, basically. So, yeah, that's my, like I said, it's like I almost show those pieces so people don't think I'm just saying, yeah, right, whatever.
My question is, I'm going to go read my own chat.
Okay.
Are those rejected spirits going to make it into the Jarrod Alberich Museum of Rejected Art?
No, those are going to go to Thorsten.
You send him the rejects. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was he's probably been waiting since 2014 or before.
Yeah. He's been on the whole list for a while.
Yeah, I feel bad about that. Believe me, I do.
I don't. That's the whole reason you asked me to help you out.
That's right.
And we got it down to just Thorsten left, and I was like, "You got this, buddy. We're done. Hooray!" Yeah, but then now you still have.
Well, here's the story behind that. Okay, he added on a Mike Zeck.
That's right. He added on an additional thing. Yeah,
and I had it. I still have the piece. I have to finish inking it. And yeah, that sounds all easy, fun, and games, and get it done. But the last, for me and my wife, the last month has not been
right.
And I just, so it will, it'll get done. Jarrod, it will.
I know it will.
Mike says that he's got a Beatty rejected Batman that's better than some of the finished pieces he has.
I got two of those.
Cool.
Right. Yeah. I believe Mike, but I don't remember him. Maybe he can refresh my memory.
I bet you remember the ones you gave me.
I do. One was a Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And the only problem was the Batman.
I can ask you if you remember what you didn't like about it.
He was like smiling, but like a goofy smile.
All right, so I'm going to weigh in on this and tell you that even though I can't show you on the live stream, that Batman has a little bit of a smile going on. But what I think is great about it is it's a total Bruce Wayne smile. He still has sad eyes. So it's like a fake smile. And I think that's the way sad Batman, melancholy Batman would smile. Because a real smile you can see in the eyes. And I think Bruce Wayne is just a sad, tormented individual. So his smile should not be genuine.
Yeah, well,
that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, when you draw that Batman, then you can be happy with yours.
All right.
So you're going to be doing that, right? That'll be your next piece tonight?
Right after I finish this dish.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
You can just whip that out tonight. You just
and then I'm going to mail it to Germany.
In fact, you could just you could literally just you got your light box there. Just trace mine off and say it's yours.
Oh, all right. You heard him say it, folks. I have his blessing.
But
get all your fake John Beatty art from Jarrod.
And the Captain America I gave you.
Mm-hmm. I remember why you didn't like that one.
Yeah, he didn't have enough skull. And
you told me you were like, hey,
his head
he looks too much like Sylvester Stallone.
No, that was another one.
Oh, you're right. I do have two of them.
Yeah. He did look like Stallone, didn't it?
I was amazed that Zablo didn't get it. So,
well, but let me get back on track here. Back to that Stallone piece. Remember when I told you that? Like, you didn't see it right away, but as soon as I told you that, you said, I can totally see that.
Yep.
And it really bothered me. And, I know Zablo wouldn't want it. It wasn't Get Carter.
Right. Now that you mention it, I have drawn a Get Carter for Zablo as well.
Yeah, well, that's what he pushes on his artist. He's like, he hands you a book of reference, right? Stallone reference.
Mm-hmm.
And says, do what you want. And that book is filled with about 95% from the movie Get Carter reference. Right? Am I right?
I have not seen the magical book, but I'm willing to believe that.
No, he makes up multiple, like 3 or 4 to give to artists he's commissioned at shows, so that if they need reference.
See, here's the rub. He didn't actually commission me. I ran a raffle on Twitter, and he won the raffle. So he asked me to draw Get Carter. And so I was able to do it in my own way.
He won your raffle, and he's a friend of mine. That sounds a little suspect.
Well, you do what you got to do to make it in this business, buddy.
Really? Well,
we got a few more comments in the chat.
Okay, Pat.
We have Mike Cross. He gives a big laugh out and says his rejected Batman just looks like John got fed up with the layout.
That could be. Did you have another question, Pat, or is that the only?
Well, no, we have a few more chats here. So
okay, I was gonna get back to Mike, but we'll take the questions first or comments. So go ahead.
Another comment is from Pinto, and might be fun if both of you guys inked the same drawing from a third party supplying the drawing, but not him.
Mm-hmm.
I've challenged Beatty to this before, and he's always backed away. I think
yes,
it's fear.
It is.
So.
GLHG asks, who's your favorite character to draw? Let's start with John.
That would be Captain America. That's because he's my favorite comic book character. So that's an easy choice for me. Second is probably Batman.
Nice selections. And Jarrod?
I probably would say Batman. It would be the one that when I sit down and I do like the free sketches for the kids, that's the one I hope they say, just because I've drawn him so many times. I'm very comfortable with it. But I really love getting sort of mildly offbeat suggestions, like Pat, you're familiar with the Green Lantern yard sale painting I just did. Or not Green Lantern, that's funny. Booster Gold yard sale painting I just did. I love getting stuff like Booster Gold or, Deadshot. So Batman's my go-to, but I really like getting requests to do something unique that I don't get to do a lot. That makes me happy.
Very cool. Mike says that, no, I've seen the book. It's all Carter. There's no stop or my mom will shoot reference. I gave him hell for it.
I recently rewatched Get Carter just because Zablo was in my life.
I'm sorry for that.
I enjoyed it the first time I saw it. I thought it was an underrated film. And the second time I saw it, I saw it again. I'll just leave it at that.
But see, I've never seen the original.
I want to see the original so bad. I've never seen it either.
Because
it's high on my list of movies to see.
I am pretty sure it's a world of different type of movie than what, Michael Caine, I don't think, has the muscle to pull off the physical. So
I don't know, man. Back in the day.
Yeah, but still, I mean, maybe his Jack Carter was more of I'll tell you what I like. I caught it on a plane. Nobody, none of you guys or gals or whoever hipped me to John Wick.
What? How did you not get hipped to John Wick?
I don't know. It totally went by me. It just seemed like nobody in my circles was talking about it. Nobody said, have you seen it? You're
not alone there.
Yeah. It's like Zablo's getting these commissions and I'm like, who is this? And he's like, oh, it's John Wick. And I'm just like, I have no idea. And I didn't ask and he didn't follow up and he didn't say like, you haven't seen this? Why are you asking? And I'm,
Come on, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, speaking of which, I'm going to give you an artist tip from me to you. I did a John Wick on one of my little, yard sale patented cardboard backers that I find. And I did let me be honest with you. I did a not great John Wick on it. And by the time I set it down on my table at the con like this, sold.
Really?
It sold immediately. So, yeah, draw you some John Wick, man. People are down for it. It's fun to draw, too.
Well, here's what I was going to say about that is, Keanu Reeves is, hopefully I pronounced his name right.
Check with Pat on that. He's our...
It's pronounced Keanu.
Like piano?
Yes.
Okay.
I could be wrong, too, but...
I know how it's pronounced, but I just want you guys to go on. Go on.
Okay. He's not the most physically threatening person, but as the character John Wick, the way he carries himself and the story behind the character, he really pulls it off well, I think.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if you got this deep into it, but Keanu does all his own.
I'll tell you,
his own stunts, his own driving.
I did not know that, but I only saw the second one. I haven't seen the first one yet.
Oh,
is that his own beard?
No, that's digital.
Are you serious?
No, that's his beard.
Well, it could be these days. Right? I mean, seriously, they do some incredible digital stuff.
Pinto says Zablo. Did I say that right? Yeah.
Zablo. But I said you could say Zablo because I really like the way you say it.
I did. When I think of that name, I think of like Zablo the Magnificent.
Well, if you met him, you change your mind.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Craig. I love you.
He's getting ready for a cruise.
So he won a contest that Pinto did for one of his first conventions, and he then wouldn't take the print. He then dropped Beatty's name, and it was before I met Beatty.
That's Zablo.
Name dropper.
That's right. I've never done that.
Of course, I don't know how he dropped my name. You know, it may have been in a bad way. Yes, Mr. Zablo is getting ready for a cruise. I've never been on a cruise, and I remember when he went on his first one some years ago, he was very hesitant, and we were laughing about it. He goes, I don't know if I'm going to like it or hate it. He goes, but there's not going to be an in-between. And then in a text conversation that we just had, Mr. Zablo and Jarrod and I just, was it yesterday?
Yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yeah, yesterday. I asked Jarrod, has he ever been on a cruise? I was kind of just having good fun with Craig, and to my surprise, Jarrod said, yeah, I do a cruise about every 1 to 2 years.
True story. Me and the wife.
Just you and the wife? No kids?
Yes, me and the wife. It's our romantic time.
Sounds like a nice getaway.
It is. It really is.
GLHG says, who would be the character you dread to draw?
I know the answer for John Beatty already.
Go ahead.
John Beatty hates to draw Transformers and Galactus.
And Iron Man.
And if it's metallic or robotic, he doesn't want to do it. And I'm going to agree with him on that. Like, Transformers are a pain in the butt. If you're not a good person, like, you kind of have to be a draftsman. If you're not good at drawing robot parts and stuff, yeah. Anyway, I'll let you answer your own question, John.
Well, like I said, Iron Man, I'm not a big fan of. I like the book. I mean, I remember when Romita Jr. and Bob Layton were doing it back in the 80s, the book, and I'm still impressed when I see on Layton's Twitter feed, and he posts up these Iron Man sketches, and I've seen him do it at shows, and they're just incredible. You know, he's got a real touch. He knows how to do the shine. He's got it down, and for me, though, it's just no love. No, yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I like the character in the movies, but that's one guy I would not like to be the inker or artist on his book.
And I can understand that. Robots, metallic stuff, it's a pain. Speaking
of which, what are you working on there? Has a little metallic stuff going on, correct?
It does, and it's a little bit of a pain, but these are the things I do for Paul Heeks.
Well, he's probably paying you for that, right?
No, I just asked for a suggestion. if he decides he wants it, it will be his.
It could be a friendship gift to him.
I see what you're doing there. I see everything you're doing, John Beatty.
Well, you did take his idea. You asked for, as I did.
What are you drawing over there, John?
I'm drawing the Flash, and the Flash is not high on my list of stuff to do.
I can't remember ever seeing you work on a Flash.
Well, I did ink JLA for a while, so
that's true.
But I don't think there was a lot of Flash in the ones I did, although it was a couple years worth of JLA and JLE, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Flash was mixed in with the JLE for a while, I remember.
Yeah, but I don't remember doing a lot of him is what I'm...
Yeah, you're right.
But a little bit of Flash goes a long way. Right, Jarrod?
That's what they tell me.
Oh, I thought you were, Oh, I meant fancy, a little bit of fancy.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, obviously.
You got to watch that fancy mojo.
It'll overtake you if you're not careful.
I had a question for you, John. You said you like to draw Captain America.
Yes.
Was Captain America one of your first comics you as a kid, or?
Yeah, actually, I I was not a superhero fan to start with. I was more of a comic strip person. I loved Dennis the Menace and Peanuts, and I actually could not figure out how to draw Dennis, but I thought in my youth that I had figured out how to draw um, Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and the Peanuts characters. Um, because they were very simple, easy to read shapes. Although, as I found out later, maybe they weren't as good as I thought. Although they weren't bad. I will say that they for a grade school kid, they were not bad. Anyway, so those two strips, were what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a comic strip artist, and part of that, to be totally transparent, was, Schultz was one of those people that you could find out, like, and I don't know why or how I found the information out, because this was back in the Stone Age, but he was one of those guys you always heard about. Oh yeah, he makes like $15 million a year. And I didn't know anything about licensing characters or anything back then. I thought he was making that all from just doing a comic strip in the newspaper.
Mm.
So part of it was like, you mean I can draw and I can make $15 million, which I can't even comprehend now, let alone back then. But it just seemed like, wow, I'm going to be a millionaire because I'm going to have a comic strip in a newspaper. So I can't remember. I think what happened first was my mother's family all resided in the great state of Jarrod Alberich, Alabama.
Sweet home.
Sing it, brother. Big wheels keep on turning.
Oh, you're gonna get Pat excited. Pat,
I'm gonna get. Wait a minute, little hand jive here for Mike Cross. We used to sing along on the old shows, or I don't know if we can actually sing on YouTube with all their rules and stuff. So maybe we need to, no lyrics. I'll get a TOS message.
GLHG says, yeah, I thought that as a kid too. Then I found out I can't draw.
Didn't stop me.
Yeah.
Yes, but like I was saying, Jarrod, it's talent is one thing, but story, drive, and understanding and uniqueness, that has value also.
You know what? I would agree with that.
And I've the reason that you can agree with me is because, and I'm not patting myself on the back. Believe me, I'm not. No, and I don't mean Pat Sampson. But the reason I say that is I'm the one that told you, Jarrod, I see something in your work. It's, it's unique. Get out there. Let's, get involved. I think the little bit of push for me gave you some confidence that maybe you needed.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
And the reason I can say that and not feel bad is because I feel the same way. And when somebody comes up and gives me that compliment or that assurance that I am good at what I do, or they enjoy what I do, it changes my mindset.
Do you remember who that was? Probably back in your childhood or someone
my mother and father were both very supportive of me doing art, which I know a lot of parents when a kid draws, it's like, oh, okay, they're drawing. But when they choose it as a career, and if there's like John Pinto in the audience, a professional artist, maybe he can add something. A lot of parents panic because making it in the commercial art field or any art field is very hard, and it gets harder all the time because more people, are entering the field. So, I had the support of my mom and dad. I had the support of my teachers. I remember in 6th grade, we had vocabulary, where we would get like, I don't know what, 6 or 8 words. And we would basically have to write a story using the words. So my way of making that an interesting, I think I only did it a couple times, and I have one somewhere. And I think it's only like 3 pages, but I typed the story out and I used Charlie Brown, I think Snoopy, and maybe Lucy. And I just basically wrote a story, and I left these gaps in where I put in the illustrations.
Oh, cool.
And boy, when I turned that in, the teacher just was, it was one of those minutes that I was just doing it because to me it was a boring assignment. So I wanted to make it, something I would enjoy. So I did that, and, next thing I know, she's holding it up and showing the class what I did. And, back then it was like kind of an embarrassing thing because I was like, oh, I don't deserve this, or, why is she doing this? Didn't understand it, that she was trying to, I guess show the other. See, if I was Jarrod, I would say pupils, but I'll say students or classmates.
You like my bigger words?
Yeah. And I like to dig on you, so that's
no, you should meet my brother.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, what was that? Was that someone's cat? Okay.
Somebody shut that dog up.
So anyway, yeah, so it was one of those moments that kind of, I'm like, really? Okay. I not only do I get an A, but then I get like, she holds it up in the class and everyone gets to see it. And I'm just kind of don't know what to think about that. But anyway, so I had that encouragement. I had encouragement from my first job. My older sister saw that there was a local publisher that was looking for a cartoonist. I think I was 15 or 16 at the time. And so, I had drawings, and she actually could drive. So she's 3 years older than me. So yeah, so I was probably 15. I think she's, whatever. She could drive. So we drove up to the place, which was actually nearby to our house. And I went in and told the guy, hey, I'm a cartoonist. I think I called first, and he said, come show me your work. In fact, I'm pretty sure I called first. I didn't just show up. And so he said, okay, he goes, I like what you're doing, kid. And he didn't say it like that, but I just, I want to embellish a bit. So he sent me home with, I don't know, 3 or 5 cartoons that he had written down a description and kind of did a stick figure scribble. And I think it only took me like a day or 2. And she drove me back up. And this time I didn't call. I just went because I knew his office was open. Showed him the cartoons. He was, just as happy as could be with them. Paid me $10 a piece for those cartoons. which, you know, for a 15-year-old kid, when you get like I said, it was 5 or 6. When a guy cuts you a check for $50 or $60, it's just like, whoa, you know,
big time.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm on my way to being that millionaire.
Step one.
Yeah, exactly. Foot in the door, literally. So he encouraged me, you know, and here's kind of the rub. I'm still in touch with his daughter. He's still alive. I need to go see him because I really, you know, I enjoy the guy. He writes books on computer programming. So I was reading all this stuff about BASIC and COBOL and Fortran and all this stuff I had no idea or no interest in. I just wanted to do the cartoons. But he was such a nice guy. Had I shown any amount of interest in the computer side, he would have gladly, like, oh, let me teach you about it. He was that kind of guy. And I just, you know, I was just more interested in doing the artwork. So I never even asked him. The only thing I ever got wrong was I didn't know a flow chart that the center line had to go down the center.
Oh.
So I did a drawing of a flow chart for him one time, and I kind of like staggered the line to be a little more creative.
Fired.
And then, yeah, he let me know that, you know, good job, but let me show you something. It has to work like this. We have to have a straight, you know, up and down line. It you know, none of this start the line over here and stuff. So, but I didn't know. Like I said, it was, you know, and he was very nice about it. He just said, you know, I need you to redo this one. You know, I should have just thought about whiteout, but I think I wound up redrawing it.
Pinto says that he had little support to pursue art for a career. His family had talked all his older cousins out of it before him.
Wow. So he was the one that said, okay, I'm going to show them.
Yeah. And he said it wasn't until after Disney hires him that his mom got on board.
Right. And sometimes it takes that, you know.
He also says that, oh, go ahead.
Good. No, I was just going to say it's something that, you know, you constantly almost have to prove yourself again and again.
He also says that he was also naive enough to get his first critique from Neil Adams. Wow. Very nice. When he was 15.
Wow. Oh, hey now. That's something, you know, I know Neil, and through the conventions, he's always been very nice to me, but I still won't like take over, you know, any books I've done and say, hey, Neil, what do you think of my inking here?
You know, I was like, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, he really loves my son, Jacob. I mean, whenever he sees me at a show, first thing he asks me is, so where's the kid? And I'm like, he couldn't make it, Neil. And he's like, what good are you?
I was about 44 years old when I asked Jarrod to critique my art from school.
Jarrod who?
and
I don't know.
And I was kind about it, and wasn't I?
Yep.
I find ways to build people up.
You got some coloring going on there, Jarrod?
Yeah, throwing some color on this.
It's got to be colored, doesn't it? I mean, yours, not mine.
I mean, I say if I do it, then yeah, but
I mean, you're pretty much, well, no, you. I was going to say you dabble in the dark arts of black and white, but
I've done a lot of black and white work. But when I do an animated style, I get most excited about doing the two-tone color work. I love two-tone color work. So yeah.
Well, I figured, you know, since you had those colors there, that they weren't there just for show.
No, I knew going into this I was gonna I was going to put color on this bad boy.
And I know this is going to go to color. It's just, as I said, I talked to my friend Andrew. I'm going to lay in a gray wash. In fact, I'm not going to do it now because I am actually almost done with what I'm going to say is my ink line. Because like I said, this is going to be somewhere in between, you know, I'm not going to do any feathering or anything in black. It's going to be more of a
just a straight solid line. No
yes, and then the watercolor will tell the rest of the story unless it completely flies off the you know,
the rails.
Yeah, and then I'm just, you know, I'm stuck with a piece of art, which is, you can tell by my spirit things, a piece of art that is pretty much worthless to me.
Although collection.
Although I will say this, I am looking at this as a learning experience, which is never a bad thing.
That's exactly right.
I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. Not only am I stepping out of my comfort zone in private, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone on live.
Yeah.
Live streaming. Now, that's to say I probably won't do any of the watercolor live. Well, maybe like I said, Andrew told me to do like a grayscale, which I'm going to do with washes. And that's what I was going to get. He gave me this neat little tip, and I scanned a Spider-Man painting for him just before New York Comic Con. He came down, and this is some experimenting I did today with this thing. This is a Pentel water brush, and I only got one, but I might get others. And he told me, you know what you can do is get these, put as much ink and water as you want into it, and you can, you know, this way you can get your shading. Hopefully this is showing up okay for the camera.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay, thanks, Pat. If I squeeze this belly part, it'll make this a lot more wet. Right now it's actually a little dry. But the point is, you do a grayscale, and then you can put the color over the gray, and it just, you can see I did like an experiment with the green, an experiment with this yellow, and I don't think I have enough contrast. Now, John Pinto may know something about this. I think, you know, even in his digital art, I don't know if he does like a grayscale with the values and tones, or if he just lays in the actual color. I'm sure he can elaborate on that if he cares to. But I thought this was a very clever idea, because you don't have to worry about dipping back into your ink wash. You can just, you know, keep moving this around. Then you let it dry. Then you go back. Then you go back in with your watercolor, and it creates the shade for you. You know, because you've put it down in grayscale. So you put your, you know, your different values and stuff down on the black and white, and then you put your color down, and you get, you know, like something like this is very cool, you know, because that's black, which I wanted this black. And then when it goes into, now I did not do a soft fade. I did that on purpose. I wanted to see how the color worked over top of it. So basically, this technique, you know, it seems like a nice way to get to where I want to go without struggling as much. And I want to say it's a pro tip from Andrew, because if you've ever seen Andrew Robinson's work, it's gorgeous. So when he told me about this, he said, yeah, you can also do this. That like opened up a it opened my eyes wide. Let's just say that. I was just like, that's what you were doing on the other painting you had here. Because I asked him, I said, is this going to be left in gray? He had like background stuff done. And he goes, oh no, I'm going to put like a light color over it. And then it basically picks up, like I said, the lights and darks, and your color, you know, you can do it digital too. I've seen a lot of people work in grayscale and then put color over top of it. And so.
And John Pinto is responding. He says he usually paints in grayscale first, then digitally as well as traditional. Yeah.
Yeah, so John knows exactly kind of how I'm going to learn this process. And like I said, it's not really a hack. And I use the word hack in a good way, you know, like a cheat or a shortcut. But it's more of a technique. It's a way of working. So, you know, I'm deciding whether or not I have this kind of tapered in. I don't know if I think I'm going to do a black line on it. And then I do have, this is very light, but I have like from where the ruler is here and here all the way up to the top of the page. This is going to be like yellow behind him with some lightning type stuff going on. And then this will just be blank down at the bottom. I'll put my signature and stuff. So, yeah. So, I mean, you know, it's a process that I'm willing to give it a shot, because I think from what I've been looking at lately, I'm always looking to explore different techniques and stuff. So this is just kind of my you know, the style that I want to work in right now. You know, this is like I get it. Yeah, it's really funny. I kind of like to jump into stuff, like, you know, and if it doesn't work out, then okay. But does that mean I'm never going to do it again? No. You know, it's like I haven't done watercolor in a long time. I started messing around a little bit with it, and just for anybody who has not went back and looked at any of my videos, I'll show a couple of pieces that kind of, you know, I wasn't planning on doing them in watercolor, and they're not completed yet, but I went ahead and did them, and it kind of pushed the envelope a little bit further for me to, you know, take another step of faith forward. This is a Venomized Captain America.
That's cool.
It's not done yet. I still got a few details and stuff, but it's close. It's almost done. So this is all done in ink and watercolor. This is a Stan Lee signature up top. Ooh. And Craig was asking me Saturday, was I nervous, you know, like working on it? Did I do anything special, you know, like maybe put something over it or something? And I said no. I said you know, I mean, I am careful with all this stuff. Anything could happen. I understand that, but knock wood, I haven't had anything happen yet. So I don't plan on anything happening. You know, kind of just get in there and do what I can. And so I did that one. And then the same person that is having me do that one is having me do this one, which is, this is really fun. This is a Venomized Punisher. And, you know, instead of doing his spider here, I figured I would, you know, use the skull as a big white area. And I've got you probably can't see it. I've got a very pale yellow on some of the skull. It's still white in here, and his teeth are yellowed out a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to go back in and do much more, but it kind of gets blown out. At least what I'm seeing, it gets blown out. And this is the way they've started doing sketch covers now. They're putting this little plastic protective sheet on not only the front, but the back as well. And I think a lot of this comes from people complaining because when they submit this to be slabbed, those companies, you know, even if you work on it and you get dirt or something on the back, which I try not to, I always put a piece of paper on the back and a piece of paper on the inside of the cover, you know, to be friendly to the book, as friendly as I can be. Yeah. But this little plastic thing is a good idea, but it can also get in your way quite a bit. So I don't know if I like them yet. From a collector's standpoint, I think it's a great idea. From working on the covers, I'm not completely sold, because sometimes you just want to rip that thing off because it gets in your way, you know, but I get it. You know, that's why I'm leaving it on. My friend who commissioned me to do those pieces, the one doesn't have one. The Punisher one that does have one, he can rip it off. I'm not going to do it. But anyway, so that's kind of, you know, what got me going.
Very good. Pinto also says that he tuned in to actually see Beatty Ink, and now he decides not to spot blacks or feather figures.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that'll be coming up. You know, this is a channel that I want to grow. I want to have fellow artists on. I want to, if I can teach somebody something, fine. You know, I'll go over all that. You know, it's like I'm gonna commit to, you know, streaming whenever I can, what I can. Some stuff I can't. If it's, you know,
I think it's a very good idea. I like it.
Well,
I've been watching some of the older issues or episodes.
Right. Well, it's fun, and like I said, if somebody can get some value out of it, then that's, you know, that's paramount.
So what do you think of Jarrod's coloring over there?
I haven't seen it yet. He's been awful quiet. Have you noticed that, Pat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, on the Longbox Crusade, he just, like, you know, like
you don't have to tell Pat.
He just barnstormed your show. I remember when he told me I'm on this episode, and I'm like, not only was he on the episode, he was the episode.
You're welcome.
Hey, John Pinto says this was fun, but he needs to go. So,
hey, I understand.
Thank you, John.
I understand. Thank you, John, for coming by, and we'll see you later, buddy. I'm sure this is probably not the most exciting thing to watch, but you know what? I enjoy whenever I'm in my studio here working, if somebody is live drawing or something, or even if they've taped something, I like to watch it. I like to hear what they're, you know, what they're saying about their work, about other people's work or something that they might be watching.
That was going to be one of my questions for you, both of you, is when you are working in your studio, what do you listen to? Is there something you have, like you said, in the background playing? Is there a go-to song, go-to album, anything like that?
That's a good question.
I can give you time to think about it because I know my answer is pretty.
Yeah, simple. Go ahead.
Podcasts. I almost exclusively listen to podcasts while I'm doing my art. And if I'm all caught up on my podcasts, then I usually just put on like a movie that I've seen 1,000 times, so I don't have to watch it. I can just listen to it and know what's going on. But 90% of the time, it's podcasts. Like the Longbox Crusade, Saturday Matinee Theater, Crusader Chronicles, and On Her Majesty's Secret Podcast.
And when is that one?
Those are all the podcasts that Pat and I do.
Yes, but when are they?
When are they? Well, yes. They're sporadic. But
okay.
You definitely want to check out the Longbox Crusade feed and the On Her Majesty's Secret podcast feed, and all your questions will be answered.
Righto. So is there some place that people can follow so they'll know when an episode is dropped? Absolutely.
And thanks for asking. On Twitter, you can follow at Longbox Crusade. It's also on Facebook. And on Twitter, you can follow OHMS Pod. That's on Her Majesty's Secret Podcast for our James Bond show at OHMS Pod. Back to you, John Beatty.
Okay, well, that's very interesting. I will be here a lot of times. I'm really enjoying streaming, and the more I learn about YouTube, then I think the better the stream will get. I plan on, like I said, I want to get some of my friends coming on the show, working with me, telling me their story, asking me questions if they have anything that I've yet to answer, letting the people that are viewing ask questions. Be very open about as much as I can be, you know.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is, of all the works that you've done, which is voluminous, since you like my big words, all the works you've done, which one helps you the most financially? Basically, if someone's watching this and is like, man, I love that Beatty, I love his work, what can they go buy of yours that will send you the nicest check, my friend?
Well, I would probably say it used to be Secret Wars.
Oh, I always thought it was. I've been telling people Secret Wars, so straighten me out. What's
well, you know, Secret Wars has been reprinted so many times now that I'm not so sure it still holds its value when I do a show, when I do a convention. Mike, Zek, and I sign more Secret Wars #8, of course, and #1 than any other book. #8 is always the #1 book we sign at any given show. But I have not seen a royalty check in a while. So I gotta imagine, because Marvel's published a few things of mine that have to be coming up sometime in the queue, like the Thanos quest that I did. You know, that's been reprinted a few times, and again, and I think in the omnibus, and I haven't seen a royalty from that yet, but I think that just came out rather in the middle of the year sometime, May, June, July, somewhere right before the big movie.
Right.
I remember when that came out, I got that.
The Thanos quest?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And that, you know, it's interesting because, you know, that was a very important story because that's the one where Thanos got all of the soul gems, you know, which I know they call them Infinity Stones because I saw Infinity War now. But I believe in the book I worked on, and Pat, you may know that they did call them soul gems.
Soul gems, yeah.
Yeah. But I did like the way Marvel, I do like in the movie the way they handled it. I think it's the one scene that really, you know, kind of was the scene, I guess, that I'm trying to phrase this the right way. I'm not saying it was the best scene in the entire movie. The movie I didn't think it was going to move that slow. And I had my son, Jacob, we were watching it, and, you know, for a kid, they want action, action, action. And I thought really that's what it was going to be. It was a good story. The part to me that I really liked, and I'm just, you know, I'm going to polarize on this one scene and see how you two guys have seen it, right? Okay. So maybe you can, you know, talk about it too or not, depending on what you feel. But is when Iron Man got, you know, something like through his armor or something, he got speared by Thanos, right? I think. Or he got, something happened to him like really bad. And Doctor Strange was right there next to him or something. And Thanos was like standing over Iron Man or something. And I think Doctor Strange was sitting down or something. And he told Thanos was like, I think even taking a rest or something. Like he really needs that. Yeah. And it was just Doctor Strange, you know, told Thanos, hey, you know, I'll give you my Infinity Stone if you spare his life. Meaning Tony Stark. Now, just before that, there was a thing, I think, where Iron Man and Thanos were fighting, and they both said something to the extent of carrying so much knowledge in your head is painful or something like that, right?
I'll buy that.
Well, I believe it was something along that lines. And so that led me to believe that, Robert Downey Jr. is going nowhere as Iron Man, because in the next movie, he's going to be the one probably that figures out how to defeat Thanos. Only because of that scene. It was very powerful when Doctor Strange was just literally giving Thanos a stone. And I think the reason he did it was he knew Iron Man was going to be able to figure out a way to defeat this guy. I don't know. That's just my, if you fast forward to the movie, if you have it on DVD or whatever, and go to that scene again, see if, that's just the way it that's what I got out of that scene.
That's cool. I'll definitely be on the lookout for that.
Have you not seen it, Jarrod, or you just?
I saw it. I saw it at the theater, and
right. Okay.
I need a second viewing to absorb it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, well, like I said, it for me it was kind of slow, and I was at the house, and Jacob was getting a little restless, but then every time it would pick up a bit, he would get more interested, and that scene was just one of those ones that I particularly paid attention to.
Cool.
And on that note, I am gonna go use the men's room very quick, and I'm gonna let you all converse and let Jarrod and Pat maybe have a little more airtime real quick. Feel free to plug yourselves and what you're doing.
Uh-oh.
No worry. Let your what's that? Uh-oh, Jarrod. Or I'll sit here if somebody needs a break. I'm not going to do much more on this. I'm probably going to finish up his collar piece and give this circle thing here a quick brush freehand, and then I'll be done for the evening. It looks like Jarrod is, well, hopefully the next time you see it, I'll be ready to put color down on it, and everything will be, I won't be fighting it so much. And not that I'm fighting it now. This is kind of the easy part. I'm just being a little precious with it because, it's like one of those things where it's like,
What's driving me nuts is I can't remember that kid's name. Is it Gustin? Grant?
Grant Gustin.
Is that right? Okay.
Which kid?
Plays the Flash.
Oh, okay.
It's Grant Gustin.
On that, I'm going to excuse myself for just about 2 or 3 minutes, as long as it takes me to walk down the hall and take care of a little business there, and I will be right back. So I will flip it. Does this make it go upside down?
No,
Pat?
It's fine. That
looks great to me.
Normal.
Okay. And I'll leave it like that as I go, even though since I'm not talking, it won't flip back to me. But
yeah, we'll let Jarrod talk for a little while here.
Oh man,
yeah, he's probably been storing up a diatribe. I'm trying to keep up with his vocabulary.
I've led a particularly interesting life. Would you care to hear about it?
Yes, but I'll be back in 3 minutes, so you can ramble on. I'm gonna hit my microphone to mute.
All right, we'll catch you when you're done with the PPs.
Yeah, okay.
Why don't you show us what you got there, Jarrod?
All right, I am closing in on being finished. I'm very, very close. Let's see if I can't get this to a place where you can see it. Is that coming through okay?
Yeah, it's coming through all right.
I could probably shed a little more light on it like that. So there you go. Animated style dead shot. Paul Heeks. Well, I believe you said this was our show now. So welcome to a very special episode of the Longbox Crusade.
Here we get to see Jarrod actually in his environment.
That's right. This is my desk that I do broadcast Longbox Crusades from. And I'm usually doodling something when we're podcasting. I usually ink pages of Cold Lightning when we're broadcasting, which is a comic book that I've done with Van Allen Plexico. And because straight inking is pretty easy for me, I don't have to put a lot of brain into it, so I can do it while we podcast. So what do you do while we podcast, Pat?
I sit and talk, usually. That's about all I do. Believe it or not, yeah, that's what we do on a podcast. Sit and talk.
Interesting.
Who are you? Did you say that you're drawing that for some?
This was recommended because I just took recommendations
Sure.
yesterday. I said, hey, anybody wants to see me draw? It's not really commission or anything like that. Just a recommendation. It's from Paul Hicks, from our friend from Australia, who also podcasts.
We'll have to make sure we send him the link to the video.
Oh, yeah. Yep, indeed. So Pat got thrown into this whole moderators bit literally 90 minutes before the show started. So how's it going for you, man?
That's going good. I really am enjoying myself being on.
Good job.
It's great to see two really good artists at work.
Well, one really good artist, and then there's me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm trying to be nice to you. I'm trying to be nice.
I got John Beatty to build me up, so that's all I need.
Well, you got a good mentor there.
Yeah, I really do. He is an excellent mentor. He's half man. He's half bull.
Mm-hmm.
That's a minotaur. My bad.
Anybody out there that is watching us live, go ahead and join us in the chat, please, and ask questions away.
Yes,
no
please.
holds barred.
No holds barred. Ask me anything.
Ask him anything.
If we got no questions, I'm just going to sit here and do shout outs. And shout out to my brother Jason, the Weasel Skull Alberich, and my best friend Delve in the Dark Web Williams, who also podcasts with us on the Longbox Crusade.
I like this. This is actually pretty fun watching you sit and watch you draw. It's like I'm looking over your shoulder, but I'm not looking over your shoulder. But I am. But I'm not.
The most fun thing to do when you're watching an artist draw over his shoulder is just when they're in like a critical moment, and they're close like this, and they're just really looking, just go like that. Are you sure you want to do that sound?
I'm not sure if you want to do that color. Yeah, that line's a little too heavy.
Yeah. This came out okay. I am essentially done. From here on in, I will just be noodling and just darkening up some lines, but there we go.
Okay.
I may throw a little bit like a little background funkiness with it, but there's my animated dead shot done only with Sharpie markers.
Let's see, Jarrod.
Oh, you're back again.
Yeah.
There you go, buddy. Dead shot just with Sharpie markers.
It's a little fuzzy. Can you maybe a little back from the camera? You might be a little too close.
Better? Better one or better two? Better one or better two?
Well, I think, what's his name?
Paul Hicks.
Paul Hicks, yeah.
He kind of has to buy it now. I'm just kidding, Paul.
Well, I would say maybe PayPal you the money for postage if he wants it, right?
Well, look at you, always trying to barter my deals for me.
Well, just trying to make friends.
Well, he will get first dibs on it.
Okay.
And then I will probably throw it up on the interwebs for sale. And he probably will get first dibs and probably a discount rate.
I hear you.
Don't tell anybody.
Now he's gotten something from you before, right?
He did recently order a Booster Gold sketch card from me. And I did it in a very similar DC animated style.
Right.
So this would look good as a set for him.
As a what?
This would look good as a set for him. Hey, Pat, check and see who's in the channel because I heard that the Weasel Skull has joined us.
The Weasels. I like the name. All right.
The Weasel Skull.
Weasel Skull.
Weasel Skull just sent me a text saying that he has joined.
Tell him to join the chat. I like that Flash is very, very cool.
Thank you.
My son is a big Flash TV fan, so I'll need to have him watch the video.
So yeah, just charge Pat the postage for that.
No, you can put it on Jarrod's bill.
I knew it.
Well, like I said, this one's already spoken for.
Sure.
Oh, so it's not cool when I do it to you. Okay, I got it.
No, don't you remember what I said at the beginning of the?
Oh, I don't listen to you.
GoFundMe fundraiser for my.
Oh, that's right. You did say some words.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Very cool.
That's cool. It is cool, though. I think that's really cool that you're doing that fundraiser for your wife.
Well, it's for the whole family, you know.
We have All Good Productions has joined in the chat.
Oh yeah, AG, how you doing, buddy?
He wants to know how is it going for you tonight.
It's going good. My hand, now that I'm almost done, is working better because the caffeine has, I don't know if it's worn out or what, but I kind of had a large cold brew coffee with a double shot in it, and it got me a little, well, I'm warmed up now too, so that kind of helps. Do you ever have that problem? Well, Jarrod, you don't really use a brush, do you?
No, I don't.
I mean, not like this. You for
no,
paint.
I have a couple of brush pens, and yes, I do use them on my painting, but never ink with a brush aside from the brush pen.
Right, and that's like a stiffer brush pen. Like some of these I have, like a Kuretake or something. Right, it's a very stiff nib.
That sounds delicious, but oh, it's not a food. I have the ones by Micron. I have a few Microns. So you know, having not done a lot of brush work, I really wouldn't know the difference in the stiffnesses. If you
no,
don't giggle at that, Pat. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's the Pigma brush pen. So
yeah, well, it's a whole different ball game with like a natural sable hair brush. And
you have a brush made out of Zablo's hair?
Yes. Natural.
It's magnificent.
Natural. It's electrifying.
Craig Zablo gave you his hair to make a brush out of. That's amazing.
Well, you know, it's so lush and supple.
It is. It really is.
Now I have to see this hair.
Don't go out of your way to see it, Pat. It's just a normal head of hair.
Do you see Jason in there, Pat, by the way?
Jason has not joined the chat yet.
So
but Jason may not know.
Looks like there's 7 viewers, but some people don't chat.
Yeah. And I've been asking, if you guys are out there, go ahead and join us in the chat. Ask away.
Ask us
no
anything.
holds barred.
AMA or AUA, I guess.
Whatever the kids are.
We
have somebody, Princess Chewy. Oh, hi, Princess Chewy. It says hello.
Hello, Princess Chewy.
What's up, Princess Chewy?
Hey, that was you, Jarrod, or was that Pat?
No, that was Jarrod.
Pat, I want to say you're actually doing. I really like what you're doing with the voice. You know, reading the chat and stuff. Very good job. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, sounds like Craig's gonna get replaced.
Hey, Pat's got that smooth radio voice too.
I've told him this on many occasions.
Princess Chewy says, "Stop, LOL." Oh, sorry, I can't do it no. Speaking of Star Wars, what's your guys' favorite Star Wars character to draw?
Ooh, I'm gonna let Beatty go first on this one.
None.
And everyone's hearts broke a little bit.
No, actually, I guess if I was forced. You know, it's gonna sound cliche, but it's Darth Vader because it kind of goes back to the Batman thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, the cape, the dark, the shadows. Right. So I am really not a huge Star Wars fan. In fact, I am guilty of, I don't know which one I didn't see when they first came out, but I've only seen them like once, the original 3, and I haven't seen one of them. Can't remember which one it was. How's that?
Well, everybody has their likes and dislikes.
I remember seeing the first one, or as they call it, episode 3 now, I guess.
Episode 4.
Yeah. Oh, is it 4? Yeah.
Well, okay. Technically it's episode 4, but
yeah, you're right. I got you. Yep. Because Okay, so I remember seeing the first one, and then the other one I saw was it the Ewoks riding those little things through a forest?
Go ahead and help him out there, Pat.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just looking in the chat. Sorry.
That was Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Was that the second one or the third one?
That was
second one, or third one by release date. Yeah.
Yeah, by when I would have known them.
It's episode 6, but it's the second one that came out. Yes.
Okay, then.
More fun when Pat answers these questions in his nerd voice.
Wait a minute now. You just said episode 6.
I'm sorry. It's episode 3. Handle it, Pat. I'm not doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so I've only seen the first one. Whatever you want to call it. I'm going back to what, 76 or 77 when it first came out.
77. I'm sorry. I gotta let Pat do it. Pat.
No, you can do it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Voice.
No, you do it because then you show up.
Oh, okay. I'm about finished this drawing. I did a little background. I don't know how it's showing up. Again, I got a cheap camera.
Let's go to the question to you, Jarrod. Ah.
That better?
Yeah, I can see it.
Anyway.
Favorite Star Wars character to draw?
Oh, favorite Star Wars character to draw. This is funny because you know how earlier I was like, I don't like to draw the Transformers, robots, or machinery. I actually like to draw R5D4.
And see, I have no idea who that is.
I've drawn R5D4 a couple of times at Dragon Con, and every time I draw him, he's another one of those where it sells almost the second it hits the table.
Is that the one that's kind of looks like the Iron Giant?
No, R5D4. Are you familiar with the R2D2 character, the small robot? Well, R5D4 looks a lot like him, except he's red and white instead of blue and white. And so I like doing that. I've done a couple of Chewbacca's. Chewbacca can be fun to draw because you have a lot of leeway with him, with all that fur and everything. You can really play with that. So it's easier to draw than like an R5D4 where you have to have some amount of proportions right for it to look right. So those are kind of my two answers of the Wookiee and the R5.
But now you've actually done paintings of Darth Vader.
I did a painting of Darth Vader that I was rather proud of, one of those giant desktops, and that sold at my first Dragon Con. So that was fun to do. It was more impressionistic, but I'm really happy with how it came out.
And so, like I said, so the movie that I didn't see, and I haven't seen any other ones since, and I've never revisited them. Let me correct my
that'll help you out. That'll give you the way.
My lazy tongue there that just kind of went the wayside. So I saw the first one. We've established that.
Yep, 1977.
Right. And the only other one I remember seeing is where I believe it was the Ewoks riding the motorcycle things through the forest.
It was Return of the Jedi, yep.
1980.
Okay. Would that be the second or third in the original release time frame?
Third.
Third. Okay. So I missed the middle one somewhere in there.
Which most people consider the best one.
Really? That's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
Well, I like the one where Sean Connery played Harrison Ford's father.
That one was really good.
Maybe we need to do a podcast with John going through the Star Wars movies with him.
Oh, I would be totally lost.
John, did you ever do any Star Wars comic work?
No, I did a couple of sketch card sets.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You told me.
I actually finished the first set I did of 100 cards.
Jeez.
Wow.
I did 30 cards and thought I was going to die.
Oh, well, let me tell you. I started doing puzzle cards thinking that would help me. But
I'm guessing it didn't.
No. I did one that was like, how many cards was it? 18 or something. It was like a little mini movie poster. I have a scan of them somewhere. That's cool. And yeah, and then I had some other ones. And I kind of enjoyed doing the puzzle cards, but I think it was around that time I was doing those. Here's the deal. everybody was like, oh, you need to do Star Wars cards, and I'm like, well, why? And they're like, because, you can make good money when you get your artist proof, your AP cards.
Right. That's where the money's at.
I've never done my AP cards.
Can I have them?
I have no idea. They're somewhere around here. I have no idea.
I have them.
They are blank. I've never done them or submitted them, and I don't know where they're at. I will tell you what, though, the 2 or 3, I'm trying to remember how many I did. It was very limited. It was 2 or 3 sketch cards that I did that were the most popular, that I got more compliments on when I did have them on my website, were, and I can't even remember what characters I did, this was one set where you could do anything that existed in any style in the Star Wars universe. So it was like free reign. There was no, you would, I think it was called a galaxy set.
Yeah, sometimes they get persnickety about likenesses of actors.
Well, what they basically do is, they tell you kind of like what you can and can't use.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this was a galaxy set, and it opens it up to like, you're free to use any character, any style, whatever. Of course they still have to approve it. But long story short is, my point being, I bust out 2 simple ones, not even thinking anything except at least these aren't going to be that hard. And they were 2 that I did in a Lego character style. So they, they were basically like square block heads and simplified with flat color. And I had so many people contact me. Like, I think somebody got one and threw it on eBay or something, or maybe from my site when I could actually post. These are some that I did. Or actually, you know what? It wasn't on my site. There was a I'm trying to remember. It was Topps, I think, who was. And I don't know if they still do the Star Wars cards or.
They do.
Okay. I used to have the guy's name, and he was actually a fan of mine from the Secret Wars days. So he was familiar with my work, and so they had a place where you could post your cards when they were approved. That's where they wanted you to do it, like on one of their chat boards or something. And I put those up there, and then people were like, yeah, I only did the 2 or 3. I can't remember now, but people were like, oh, these are great. How many did you do? I want to collect them all. Or, I'm going to look for all of them. Can you let us know? And that's, sometimes people would do, like if you did a puzzle piece, it might be as big as this 9x12, like all put together with the cards.
Mm-hmm.
You would scan it. I'd keep it taped on the back as a puzzle piece. I would scan it and put it up and then tell them this is like an 18 card puzzle piece. And I tried to, and this was the tough part, I tried to make every card have like a main character part somewhere on the card, so that each card, even as a standalone, would, have a little something there that was not just like an elbow or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a tricky thing to figure out design-wise too.
Sounds like it.
The best ones I think I saw, well, relative to what they're supposed to be, which, original sketch cards. So the ones that were absolutely my favorite, because the guy nailed it and they were fun, and I could tell he knew the characters and knew how to draw them. And it wasn't that the technique was like painted or anything like that, because some people would get crazy on those cards. I got kind of crazy on mine, you know, and then I realized I better do some easy ones. So the last, like the last dozen of mine, or 18, like 12 to 18, I did in like a 36-hour stretch to meet the deadline. And I said, I'm never doing this again. And then when the next set was offered to me, I was like, okay. And then it got down to, I couldn't finish them all, but at least I let the guy know, so he was fine with that. But the ones that I enjoyed the most were done by Craig Russo. He's done a lot of he did a lot of stuff for Marvel for when they were doing the all ages stuff.
Right.
But he had this nice sketchy ink style, and they were just so much fun. And you know, he just, like I said, he nailed the essence of what they should be. You know, everybody was like making these mini masterpieces, literally. Yeah, it was just like I was guilty of it myself. So, you know, it was just it was something fun. But man, you get that deep into it, and you're kind of like committed, you know. And so, yeah, like I said, the last 18, I remember it was a 36-hour stretch of work, and I felt like I was going to get sick when I was done.
Is that the, like, most you've had to kind of, I want to say rush, or that you felt that kind of pressure, or?
Well, no, I mean, I've had tighter deadlines in comics. The problem is I began to realize I don't like really doing the Star Wars stuff. Now, having said that, it's not that I won't do it. It's just that much of it was kind of wearing thin on me. I mean, there are visuals that I do like. Yoda was one of my favorite ones to do. I did a puzzle card of him. Like they had these ones that were kind of oblong on another set, and I would do like a 4-card thing and or a 2-card, you know, and I kind of dig those up because I actually enjoyed a few of them. You know, there was some that I was, you know, very happy with.
That picture's looking good, Jarrod.
Yeah, I'm about wrapped up. I'm just waiting on Mr. Watercolor over there.
Yeah, that one.
Well, like I said, Mr. Watercolor's not going to get to watercolor.
That is a really great you guys going there, though. But back to the original question, can I have your artist proof cards?
I don't know where they're at. They are somewhere.
I will come to your office and root around.
Oh, yeah. My wife would love that. She wants to. Well, she did come in here and like put away boxes and stuff. And I put a picture on Facebook about, you know, wow, you know, look what my wife came down here and did one day. And I'd just been like stumbling. It's kind of, I got some boxes and stuff because I got a chair. I got some art paper and stuff. So the boxes begin to stack up again, and my floor space gets taken with those, and I need to take them out to the big dumpster. But I always tend to put that off until, I don't know.
Exactly.
Until I don't put it off. But
Pat, what you got to do is come visit me in, what is it, April is the next Daytona Beach Comic-Con?
Well, it's November 4th.
Well, no, I'm not doing that one.
The big 2 days.
The big one. The big one.
April 27th and 28th, I believe.
There you go, Pat. Come visit me. You can ride with me down to Daytona. I'll take you by Beatty's office. We'll toss that sucker until we find those cards.
You will pillage my studio.
We'll steal any art that's not nailed down, and we'll find those cards, and we'll have fun at the show.
Awesome.
That you will have. It is a fun show. It's a good little time for, you know, I mean, I help Tom out, but Tom is a really good guy. As Jarrod will tell you.
Yeah, he's the best.
The show is fun. I mean, the people that come there are genuinely comics fans. And for the most part, you know, it's a very pleasant show. There was a few things that your neighbor said about the show after it, Jarrod. I think I may have told you about that or not.
Go on. Did they say positive things or negative things?
No, it was negative and it was uncalled for. And
I don't know if we talked about that.
I will tell you off air.
Yeah, we'll do that off air.
Although the person that was vocal about it was very vocal and told it on her Twitch channel. Ooh. And should have probably took a breath of air and thought about what she was saying before she said it.
You know, half this business, man, more than half this business is marketing yourself and treating people right.
Well, that's right. But apparently, according to her, well, I'll have to tell you off air. It's gossip, and I don't want to get
all kinds of people leaning at towards their computers right now.
And
I just guess they won't be getting invited back. We'll just say that.
Well, yeah, that's the long and short of it right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to see how that your flash turns out, John, with the watercolors in that. So
yeah, me too.
You can share some pics along the way somewhere.
Oh yeah, like I'll make a scan of this first, the black line, so I'll have that. And then I'll do the gray tones and make another scan of the gray tone, and then start laying in the big color wash. And that's kind of, like I said, the heavy lifting from what Andrew tells me. Now, remember, Andrew is a trained and professional painter. So,
wait, you can get training for that?
Well,
you just don't paint on people's garbage? That's wild.
Well, you actually can. I've never done it. I mean, like I said, this is a experiment for me, but it's okay. I'm out of my comfort zone, but sometimes you got to go there to, to make progress. And like I said, I am such a fan of some people that have been doing these beautiful ink wash drawings like Mateo and the stuff that I see Andrew do. I don't know. It just kind of like it happened with that Captain America thing. I think part of the reason was my Copic markers were drying up and the guy wanted these in color, and I had some watercolors here, and I was just like, I'm just going to watercolor this. And I went in with like reckless abandon on a Stan Lee signed book. That was the Captain America one.
Yeah, it turned out awesome.
It did.
Well, yeah, like I said, I just got a little bit of detail. I got to put some more liver spots on his tongue in a lighter color than the black. I have the black in the back. I got to go in with a little like white gel pen and add some like stringy saliva, maybe, from his teeth and stuff, and a couple of little spittles off the tip of his tongue that I like to do. And maybe do a little splatter all over the whole piece, just a touch, not a lot, just enough to give it an extra layer of texture. So, I mean, I'm not looking to do a masterpiece with this flash. I'm just looking to, as I said, that's why you see the inking like this, as I explained at the beginning of this, that, it's going to be a linear, type piece, almost coloring bookish.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more left to it that, I've got it road mapped. I don't know. The pencils are so light. I know it's not going to, you might be able to see like here on his skull. I used a photo for the reference for the lighting.
Okay.
And for the character, because I didn't know the costume.
Mm-hmm.
But like this line here, I don't know if you can see this line. There's like a line where there's like this white highlight here. Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to like make sure I get that, that I get that white highlight, and it's like a yellow over on this side or something. Mm-hmm. So I might leave that off and keep it white, because I'm going to do like a strip of yellow lightning coming up like from his shoulders all the way up to the top of the page.
Cool.
So when it sits in a frame, the top part will, go off, but the bottom has this be this white negative type space. It's an old design trick, but it works. That's things are done for a reason, and this is something that could I go in and add a bunch of blacks to this? I mean, I do have some here for the really deep shadows. I'm kind of debating whether or not I should do it on his neck, but I think if I do that, then I'm going to go, okay, then this has to be black. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that could, I need to study this piece. If I do it tonight, I won't like it. If I decide that this lighting stuff needs a harder black line and I'm not going to do like an ink wash line, then the next time you see it, it might have that black put in, but it'll be like balanced. The blacks will be balanced, if you understand what I'm saying. It won't just be like up here on the forehead. I put some black areas. It'll go into the whole drawing except for in his face, which, I might do black on the red costume because red is a color that's closest to black. So the black may actually look better than the gray tone. But on the face, I will definitely do the light gray wash and then put a flesh color tone over it. I did notice on my reference material I had out today for this, that this guy's, and I don't know if it's just something they do in the Photoshop or something, but his lips are actually very red. Almost like a small layer of lipstick. Now I'm sure that may be part of the show, or it just may be the photo ref that I used is so, I mean, I guess it's from the show. But yeah, his lips are really, really, like I said, lipstick red, almost like the red on your little icon there, Pat. Yeah. But I'm not, I'm going to pull back the red. Of course, I'm not going to go that dark on them. They'll be more of a pinky flesh type color. So, and I can't remember what color his eyes are. They might be blue.
I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, I don't have the reference out, and it seems like they were in deep shadow. So I'll, if I need to, I'll just Google the actor and get a picture of him without the costume, see what color his eyes are. But yeah, so I'm
doing it right now. They look actually greenish.
Oh, they could be. They could be like a teal type color or something. Mm-hmm. Which actually is good because green is a complement to red. So, if his eyes are green and the costume's red, then they've got a automatic complementary color working with his eyes.
Oh, maybe I should wear more red then.
It's really funny because when you see green and red, you think of Christmas, but they're also complementary colors.
Which is why on this here drawing I did tonight, I did the background border in a green because Deadshot's got a lot of red.
Very good. Oh. I'll give a thumbs up to that.
I've learned something.
Yeah, you have. You've done well, Grasshopper. So, Jarrod.
Yes.
You have an appearance tomorrow.
I do. Tomorrow I will be at Capital City Comics in Montgomery, Alabama from 11 to 5. Just shucking some of my independent comics that I've made and maybe doing some sketches and maybe selling some prints. But it'll be fun.
And what did you mention the hours you're going to be there?
Yeah, 11 to 5.
And do you have a copy laying around of your first self-published book?
Oh, you would think I would have came a little prepared on that, but I've failed you. They're all packed up.
You don't leave a personal copy out?
I've read it before. I don't need to. I mean, the one I wrote, so I don't really feel the need to read it again. And
right.
The other one I inked.
Well, maybe for the people.
I'll tell you what, though. I got something I can show you. Hang on.
Okay. I was going to say, maybe you could give the title.
Yes, I wrote Hamilton versus Burr, A Werewolf Tale.
Oh,
thank you. And I inked I'm inking a series called Cold Lightning. Cold Lightning 1 is now out. I'm currently working on 2. And here are 2 pages that I recently finished inking for Cold Lightning 2. So
okay. And is that over blue lines?
Over blue lines, yeah. The penciler lives in like Brazil. So he draws it and scans it and sends it to me, and I print it out on a blue line. There's a blue line for those who may not be in the know. And then I ink over his blue lines.
Yeah, it's a little pixelated, but...
Yeah. Well, I like it like that because I hate showing my ink work to Beatty because he's one of the world's greatest, and he lets me know that I'm not. So, you know, it's a secret.
John, AG wants to know if you finished the Punisher piece that you were working on. Yeah.
Let me show you that, AG, because you weren't here earlier. It's not 100% done, but it's close. I have some detail left to put in. Some white, you know, or you know what I'm thinking? I may even go get a blue or a purple jelly roller to add a few more little wrinkles and stuff that I didn't put in.
Did you say that was a watercolor, John?
Yeah.
Jelly roll?
Jelly roll pen.
Yeah, don't get excited. Don't get excited.
Yeah, it's not a high sugar fattening snack.
Oh, sure.
And maybe a little bit of colored pencil to add in, so it'll be a mixed media. But I also have some of the same green I used. I splattered it, and it came out very nice. So I was happy with that. Splattering was kind of scary because you never know where it's going to go. But when you have these little flecks that get in I like that because it adds that layer of texture over top. It's here in the hair and stuff, and even up into the logo. Mm-hmm. And you know, I really personally I like it because it not only does it kind of get into the drawing, but it adds, like I said, that extra layer of like there's something else. You know, it kind of takes the flatness out of it.
Mm-hmm. AG says, "Wow, that looks nice."
Thanks,
AG. Looks great and nice.
You know, I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe on my first live stream a couple weeks ago, maybe when I started, or maybe 3 weeks ago now, I believe AG was the first person that came in my room. And like, you know, I was asking questions like, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know. And he was there and was like, yep, you know, I can hear you fine. And I kind of used him to test my, you know, my setup on. And I've since got a new AG. You might notice it just came today. I got a little camera swing arm thing. So instead of it coming from this side, I'm now, you know, like right in the camera's right down, or not right down on the art, but it's closer and it's straight. So I can work this way, and the camera shot's not coming in like, I guess this, you know. So
AG says, indeed he was.
Yeah.
So the first.
So I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking at the play window now. So I'm getting to see what the viewers see.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So stuff like this, that's stuff I'm still working out, and you know, it's getting better. I'm not that nervous behind a camera talking. I've done this before on Ustream. I think I maybe mentioned that. So when I first started Ustream, I was probably a little more nervous because it was a new thing. I think doing conventions and being up on panels and talking to fans at shows has helped with any nervousness that I may have had. So, you know, that wasn't a real problem. The only thing tonight was and I believe it's wearing off. I was a little over caffeinated to start, and my hand was kind of not steady. So I felt like,
tell.
Well, you know, I ink slow, but that was pretty, you know, I don't know. It's like I would go to put the brush on the paper, and it's like the paper was moving, but it was really a little jitter in my hand. But I think, having said that, that this is a good base to, start the painting from. And like I said, we'll see. The more I look at this now with a clearer head, but I won't do it tonight because, as Jarrod knows, that will frustrate me if anything runs off the rails. The more I think about it, the more I think black is going to be the better choice in the red parts of the costume, instead of the gray ink wash to put the watercolor over. I just really, that's what I'm feeling. And I know in these two sections of his suit, there's like even a crosshatch, like a mesh type thing. And I don't know if I want to go that far with it, as far as like with the black ink line. I don't know if that's going to be like something that I shouldn't put in, only for the fact that I don't know. It could look weird, I mean, it works from the photo ref I saw, but putting it in a drawing, you have to be very careful with stuff like that. And if let's just say it turned out and looked like a checkerboard, that would kill this for me. So if I just keep it as a red with like like if I do some sort of shading down here in these parts, that would be fine. That would not bother me at all, not to have that little mesh look that he has up on his shoulder parts. I've already put these little, I guess this is like a zipper, and these go down his arms or something like that. And even his mask, this comes up. So, like I said, I'll rest on it tonight. And, but the more I'm looking at it on camera, the more I can actually see where I think the red will work better with a black, more black shading. And like I said, again, to be repetitive, the face will get the light gray to mid gray ink wash, and then a couple of colors put over it to kind of, give us a fleshy color.
Well, I think both drawings that you and Jarrod have done are awesome.
Thanks, Pat.
Just sitting here watching this has been a really awesome experience for me.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Pat, and I'm going to invite you back because your voice is great. You've done a wonderful job, and I'm saying that from my heart.
Oh, appreciate it.
You got one of those voices that is easy to listen to. When you come in, it doesn't startle, doesn't startle me or doesn't startle Jarrod.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. Not that we can't get loud and have a little fun, but when we're concentrating, and it's like sometimes
it's soothing.
It's that smooth voice in your ear. You're listening.
Right. And my friend Craig does a good job too. We get off on a lot of tangents, and not that I love Craig. I still want to have him on here. He will be, he's kind of hard to get a hold of and get him set up and going. So I appreciate you, through Jarrod, helping us out tonight, because I actually think we had a good amount of listeners come through and asking questions, which I'm thankful for. And it was nice that you could volunteer your time to do this.
Not a problem. I appreciate it. Just being able to talk to you.
Yeah, no,
we're gonna have to have John on the show, man. Once we
definitely
he's worked on.
Well, I the only thing I'll say, if I give this live stream a critique, and this is no offense to Pat at all, is since you're just going to talk and you're not, I know you're not an artist or anything, so I get that, but I don't know, is your camera and microphone connected together?
No.
So they're separate.
Correct.
But you had tried to turn your camera off, but then we couldn't get a sound from you. Is that what we were experiencing before we went live?
No, it's when you turned me off.
Yeah, but I'm wondering on if your end, if you shut your camera off, if you would be completely gone or if your microphone would still work.
Oh, we could try that next. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll do it off air just to, we don't want to lose you right now into Never Never Land.
We'll figure it out.
But that's basically what I did with Craig last Saturday is like I think I told you guys before we went on air was, I was going to be drawing. Craig was just going to be following the chat and asking questions, doing commentary, stuff like that. So, there was really no reason for it to cut back and forth to his microphone. Or, I mean, to his camera. His microphone, yes, we did need that. So.
Pat, do you have any other questions in the queue as we come to a close?
Not much besides AG just wanted to mention that the much improved angle of the camera that John has now.
Maybe
thank you, AG.
From your text messages that you could pretend was a comment from
Jarrod, are you fishing for something there?
No, just asking.
Well, yeah, hold on a second here. Let me just see. Oh.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. My brother wanted to get in with a comment, but he's having a hard time logging into his YouTube. So he sent it via text.
To you or to Pat?
Pat and I both.
Oh. Well, apparently Pat didn't get it. Or maybe he's looking for it now.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now. Go ahead and Jarrod, if you got it, go ahead.
All right. Jason basically just wanted to say thank you to John Beatty for the Secret Wars comics that you got.
He's quite welcome. I didn't complain that much about it, did I?
No.
It was that big stack in Alabama.
Oh my God! It was the biggest stack I ever brought you was when I saw you last time in Daytona. That was
50
Kirk,
or 60
Kirk Spencer's stack. Yeah.
Hey, he's Big Army 5 or something.
Yeah, right? Big 5 Army. I think he probably would have joined us tonight if not for he had taken a pretty severe beating from the hurricane.
Oh, okay.
So, he's okay. He's fine, and he just has a lot of work to do on his property. He was telling me about that.
Okay. Yeah. I really, I wasn't sure who some of the people were. I know you guys knew some of them. I don't know. It's reading that we have 5 viewers now, which I think does not include us, because if it does, then there's only really 2. But it could. But I mean, when we were in here earlier, since I'm like, let's say, I'm behind the curtain. I'm the Oz here. Pay no attention. When it was just the 3 of us before we went live, it was showing 0 viewers. So I would like to hope that the 5 viewers does not include the people, meaning the 3 of us. And now we have 6 viewers.
Very good.
So we may have picked somebody up. And I would like to say hello to whoever joined the room. And if you would like to type a comment while we're winding down here, please feel free to.
We will answer any questions you may have.
Even if it's with a, I can't answer that.
That's right. I'll get back.
You have stumped me. You have stumped the great and powerful Oz.
Yeah, you could chat in a James Bond trivia question, and chances are I will get it correct.
Ronald Wentz says, "Hey, John."
Oh, hey, Ron.
When's somebody gonna stop by and say hey to me?
Hey,
well,
Jarrod.
Thanks, I thought they did, didn't they? Ron, you are a true gentleman, sir. And if you please reply to my email, I'd love to do something for you.
Wow, I never get that.
Well, Ron has been a real special person over the past month or so to myself and my wife. He's been a huge blessing. And
awesome. Thank you, Ron. As a long time Fodge, that's FOJ, friend of John. I appreciate that.
I like that, FOJ.
I'm a Fodge.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to use that. Good. I like that. FOJ. We're gonna have to use that. It's kind of like Foom.
That's right. Yeah. Fans of old Marvel or
right.
Friends?
So I could be a Fooge. It could be a Fooge. FOOJ. Friends of Old John. Right?
Right.
I kind of Fooge? Fodge.
There you go.
I don't know. What's
there you go. Start your fan club like that.
Yeah, I'll have to get Steranko to do covers. Those were some great things. That guy's so amazing. I mean, he had like 30, just a little over 30 published stories, and he changed an industry with what he did. It's amazing. That small body of work in the big scheme of things that had such an impact on so many people.
Ron says we'll reply back to you. Just been slammed at work. And all AG says was just going to say this sounded like Foom. Ha.
Yeah. Hey, Ron. I did actually. Oh, okay. I'm trying to. Ron, you came in under a different ID on last Saturday, right? And I won't say anything about it, but I did Google it because it was interesting, and anyway, while I'm waiting on that answer, and
yeah, we're still waiting.
Okay, yeah, he just replied.
Oh yeah, I don't believe so, but may have.
You were at work, Ron. Does that help you? And I believe it was like a ARNP or something.
See if you can get his password.
No, no, I don't want to
Sure, bring it up.
Right.
If
it was him, it was a very. Okay, yeah, and I looked up that what it means, and I really I appreciate the work that you do. That's I don't know if well, I'll just leave it at that. I appreciate your heart and what you do work-wise.
Sounds like he's a special guy.
Yeah.
I got one of those. My special guy's name is Pat Sampson.
Oh. Warm my heart.
There you go.
See, this is a fun show, man.
Yeah.
So we spread the love here, man.
Well, all we need is love. No.
Write that down.
Ron did reply back to you, John.
Okay.
Says, okay. Yeah, I love my job. Appreciate that, good sir. So.
All right, and I have yet to wrap anything, Ron. So I still have. And Jarrod, you may have saw this. The sketch cover, Secret Wars 8, with the Red Goblin on it. That's Ron's.
Oh, okay.
That was on my Instagram, and that has been my most popular Instagram post to date.
Oh.
Over 1,000 likes on that one.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever hit over 1,000. I don't know what sent that one viral, but I mean, it was. I couldn't believe it when it got up to like 300 and 400 and 500. I was like, "What happened?" Suddenly, it's like, I'm used to like 100 to maybe almost 200, but when this one, like, by midday had went like to 300 to 400, and then a couple hours later it's like 600, 700, and then before I went to bed it's like almost at 1,000. I'm like, what's going on? Is it this Red Goblin character?
Ron says that the Red Goblin was hot.
I have no idea.
I might have to look that one up now.
I could actually get it and show it to you. But that just may make Ron go, could you get that in the mail to me, please? But no, I'm going to wait and see. Ron can answer me back on what I replied to him in my email. And I may have something else to go out to him. So that's up to him. So I'll consider that and just wait for him to have a chance to reply to me. But yeah, I've got, and Jarrod, you know how I am on wrapping stuff too.
Mm-hmm. That's the longest part of the process, is to actually put it in like an envelope and send it.
No, you know me again. It's not just putting it in an envelope. I don't roll like you do there, sir.
Well, let's not give our listeners a bad impression of me. I do press everything between cardboard and then put it in an envelope and then send it. But I actually do those steps, whereas somebody else I know.
I don't call 20-pound copy paper cardboard.
Oh, now you want to bag on my paper? A minute ago, the paper I took to the trash was cool.
No, that's great for sketching. Like I said,
Tonight I drew on legit Bristol paper.
I saw that.
Yep.
Now, what do you got? You got a little square there going in the background, a little green square, rectangle?
This?
Yeah, or is that something I'm seeing through on the back?
This is just the circle, the green circle maker.
No. On the actual drawing. Do you see that, Pat?
Oh, yeah. I did a little square background.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little flavor. Give it a little flavor. Just a little flavor.
So if this works out, if this piece works out and I do a good job and I feel comfortable, I am going to offer this type of commission on my site. Because
this lovely dead shot could be yours.
For what's the starting bid?
The starting bid, $4.2 million.
Man, that's a little rich for my blood.
Yeah, I could probably knock that down to $50.
Well worth it. Well worth it.
You got to be a Deadshot fan.
Mm-hmm. Poor my brother Jason. He's just texting me that he's frustrated that he can watch our show, but for some reason he can't chat with us.
You know
Probably
what?
been banned if I know my brother.
No, I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think, and this is one of those Google things, since Google owns YouTube, I believe you have to have a Gmail address to be able to type in the chat. And I think you have to log in with it.
I have
you're correct.
Well, it has to be a Google address because I have an old school Hotmail address, but that's still owned by Google, and I've been able to chat as well. So you're probably right. You're probably your Gmails, your Outlook.coms, and your Hotmails could probably all chat.
And see, since my domain email goes through the G Suite, I just figured I would use it because it's not that pricey, and I can log into my email anywhere. I don't have to, and it stays. I mean, if I archive it or something, I never lose it. Where when I was using an email client and doing like a POP3 account or something, it's like that'll get filled. I'll have to dump the emails out that I may want to keep for 5 or 6 years. So, you know, and the G Suite, I've actually, as Jarrod knows, I've used the docs. I've used Jarrod is great with their sheets.
Yeah, we've used the spreadsheets together before.
I could use a easy tutorial on those. I mean, the ones that I've seen are just, I have not seen a good beginning one. Like my default is it's like I try to move something and it'll just combine the cells. It doesn't like, I don't want it to be two complete long ones. I want it to be, Jarrod, you probably know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Basically, long story short is Microsoft Excel is a pain.
But I'm talking using the Google Sheets.
Right. And that works pretty much the same way as Microsoft Excel.
It's like if I have a piece of text that is bigger than what needs to go or shorter, I don't want to have to use the whole, I'd rather it like push together or open up to how I need it. And you could probably teach me how to do that very quick on a quick walkthrough video or something.
Yeah, maybe if you give me some of the artist proof cards.
I don't know where they're at. You know what? I think, I don't know what the limitations of those are, but I don't even know if I can use them, let alone someone else.
Yeah, you can use them.
Yeah.
No, once they give them to you, they're yours. I mean, last time I did the ones I did for Marvel, they had to still approve the artist proof card.
Right.
But as long as you follow, and they're usually a lot looser with the rules on the APs. They said I could draw anybody I wanted. I basically just had to stick to their usual rules of.
That's on the Marvel cards.
Right.
I was going to say Secret Wars cards. On the Star Wars cards, they are a lot more rigid.
Well, here's the thing. We just do what we want.
Yeah. I don't need tops coming after me.
I think if it's been as long as it's been, they probably legitimately don't care anymore.
Well, I know for a fact that they probably keep track of who worked on a set. Now, if I did them, it would probably be okay. If they showed up with your name, because they
might have questions, but that don't mean I can give them answers. Aside from if they listen to this live stream.
Well, I don't need any trouble from from anybody. They're best left where they're at until either I get around. And I'll tell you, I mean, at the time, I would have been smart to when people like the Lego ones to go, hey, you want an AP Lego?
Yep.
I can hook you up with one of those. And anyway, that's supposedly.
Yeah, if I had it all to do over again, I would have let the world know I had blank APs and taken commissions instead of just drawing what I wanted.
Well, and there's even kind of a stipulation that you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to show your AP cards and get them approved before you put them up for sale.
Well, yeah, but you could still kind of say I'm doing these cards. Is anybody, they could at least tell you the character.
Well, yes.
And then you could do them. But yeah, you're right. I took the straight and narrows. I did it right.
I know. I got you.
Don't you judge me.
I didn't judge you. I'm just reading you what I remembered from both doing a few Marvel cards and from doing tops. The Marvel cards, I think I did about 20 and then had about 5 AP cards.
Man, it's pretty sweet. I did 30 and got 3 AP cards. They were doing 1 AP card for every 10 when I did them last year.
Those were through Upper Deck, right?
Yes.
The best deal they ever had was when you were creating, you would get hired to do like a 5x7 was the size they needed, original piece of art, pencil, ink, and color.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't believe, I mean, it's like they would send you like, here's a list of what's not taken. You know, how many can you do? How many do you want? And you would pick, you know, maybe you do 5 or 6 or 7 of them or whatever. I mean, some of them were like a background. I did one of like some cemetery. It was just it was like a gate. It was like a, how do I want to, like a gate, but it was like spikes coming out of the ground, and it had like a crypt with a lightning strike, and it was like very dark and stuff. And it was just like, I picked that one because it was easy, and they all paid the same.
Cool.
And it was,
what did they use that art for? Just drawing a crypt?
It was part of a Marvel Topps trading card set. And
somebody was like, man, I gotta get that crypt card.
No, I mean, a lot of people didn't want that. But when those were going, it was like, and they, you know, they didn't do sets like every month. You know, it might be twice a year. But let's just say to do a 5, I think the specs on them were like 5x7, you know, whatever the proportions would be. I mean, that was like the minimum size. If you wanted to draw them bigger, you could, but why bother? You know, if you can do it in 5x7, then you could. Pencil, ink, color, $500 a card.
Woo!
And you got to keep the original. You didn't even have to send it in.
Now, where do I sign up?
Well, I believe that's why they're not doing them anymore.
This lovely Deadshot could be yours for less than $500.
And there's somebody in Australia
just might be interested
who could be watching right now. Or would you have received a text or an email?
I'm certain he would have reached out to us.
Well, let's see. Are they like in the Philippines? Are they 24 or 12 hours?
His time zone is going to be way off from ours.
Yeah, see, because like I'm
probably just now waking up.
Yeah, I'm showing like what, 10:35.
Shoot, we got to go to bed.
You see that?
Good night, everybody.
That caffeine kept me up. You got something to do tomorrow.
I do. I gotta go to Montgomery for the Capital City Comics. I'm doing a comic shop appearance.
Well, tell us about that.
Once again, Capital City Comics in Montgomery, Alabama. I'll be there from 11 to 5, selling my creator-owned book, Hamilton versus Burr, A Werewolf Tale, along with some comics that I have inked, like Cold Lightning, and I did a book cover for a book called Blackthorn Spires of Mars, and I'll have that available as well. I'll probably do some sketches for the kids.
You realize we're just seeing your lips right now, right?
Sweet.
No, I don't know if you realize you cropped your whole, like.
Well, I was showing the art.
Yeah, I understand. I was just letting you know, like, there you go. There's your little peekaboo.
Peekaboo.
I think I like the art better.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, Pat.
Yeah, it's so funny, Pat. That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hitting Pat up for more co-hosting here.
Yeah. That's how it all starts.
Yeah.
Pat's been.
There you go, Pat.
Pat's been
for me to you.
Oh, yeah, there we
Pat's been a star tonight. Hey, that's a good looking Mario and Sonic poster,
isn't it? That's a little Jarrod Alberich with John Beatty right there.
Oh.
That's a little dynamic duo. We chose those because that's when the Batman vs Superman movie was coming out. So we made Mario Superman and Sonic Batman. And funny story behind that is I started sketching it all out, and I had to send some other stuff. I don't remember what it was, but I had to send some other stuff to John. And so I started sketching it out, and I got a pretty good little rough sketch going. And I mailed John this other stuff. And then I'm looking all over for my sketch. I'm like, I can't find it anywhere. And I was like, did I put it in that package I sent to John? And then John calls me, yeah, what's this chicken scratch you said? I said, yeah, it's not quite finished, but just go with it. I'm like, you're a professional inker. Just go with it. And look at the beautiful magic he made right now.
Oh, yeah. Looks awesome.
Well, actually, the beauty of that is I did it in Adobe Illustrator. I did a lot of vector inking for Disney and for DC Comics licensing. And coloring too. So it's kind of like a very animated cut color style. You really can't see it too well on the poster there. And I did like a faded zipatone effect in the back.
Try to get it to where you can see it a little better, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's your camera's not clear enough, but
probably just dirty. Let me just clean that right there.
No,
it's also the cheap onboard camera from my laptop.
Jarrod, I'll tell you, the camera I'm using is a Logitech C90, and Amazon has them on sale right now for $40 because they've got a C922, and now I think they've got a 930 or something, which it gets up into and that one's around $100 or something. But the one I got right now, I paid like a little over $50 for it about sometime the beginning of this year when I wanted to start streaming. I mean, I've been trying to get streaming stuff together, but I haven't. I mean, until now, and it's all been on the cheap. I mean, I got a light here for $20. I needed a table light because when I turned it off, let's see how dark. Well, it kind of flickered, but this just gives it enough extra illumination to help. That was like 20 or $25 at Office Depot. I've had the camera. I had to buy a USB hub because my laptop only has 2 USBs, and I needed an extra one. And I got this stand for this Logitech camera for like $19. And that was shipping included off of Amazon, and it just arrived in the mail today. So my setup is headset, $25. Headset with the mic.
I get everything from yard sales, so
I know, but I'm thinking I might have. I don't even have $150 in the whole thing, and like I said, I want to go more, but right now I can't, just due to circumstances. I want to get a better microphone. I want to get. I notice you have a pop filter.
Yes, I do. I got the pop filter and the microphone from my good friends Jesse and Jeannie. Got it for me last Christmas.
Do you have a Blue Yeti there, or what?
No, I have a what's it called again? It's a Audio Technica. A nice little mic. Goes nice with the little.
Yeah, no, and the pop filter is great. I don't have that on my headset.
Of course, I've got the Captain America headphones.
Representing
the Captain America with the headphones.
Right. All right. Well, I suppose we should let the people go who are still around. And
why are you still here?
No, hey. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Don't chase my watchers off.
When you get to the point where I'm showing off my headphones, that's when you know the show's coming.
Well, no, we're just talking about streaming equipment. I mean, it's like
welcome to DIY streaming with John Beatty.
Yeah, John Beatty.
I mean, I'm earlier this year I was looking at some expensive equipment and stuff, and I was just like, I can't even afford that and I thought, it kind of stopped me from, when I say expensive, I mean $100 camera. The microphone would be the biggest investment. At those Yeti microphones are about $100 to $130.
That's what I have.
Is that what you have?
Yeah, I got a Yeti.
Do you have the Snowball or
no.
the pill-shaped one?
Pill-shaped.
What color is yours?
Silver.
Yeah, okay. That's what I've seen a lot of them, silver.
Yeah.
And, I know you can adjust your voice settings and stuff too.
Yep, you're going to do a lot of gain and all that.
Right. So, Pat's voice is probably like Edith Bunker's, if anything.
Archie.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Archie.
Coming from that microphone, he's like Mr. Smooth. And, I'll get there, but I have bigger fish to fry, so to speak, right now than
that sounds delicious.
Fried fish.
I should have eaten something before we got on.
It's kind of late to be eating now.
Try to stop me.
Well,
Ron wants to say just sorry he gotten late.
Oh, no problem, Ron.
We're happy to be here for you.
Yep. We are just
three cool dudes.
Oh, email didn't alert. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I thought the alerts came from like whatever device you're on. If you activate that, if you hit the little bell, like I'm subscribed to a few, and like on my phone, it'll.
I think if you have the actual app on the phone, yeah. Otherwise, you will get an email too.
Yeah, and I have it set on my desktop to, respond. Like I allow it to, if somebody I've subscribed to is going live or has dropped a new video or something. See, that's one thing I haven't figured out, and I think I have to do it to capture it on my computer and then upload it to YouTube, is to actually do a video, not a live one, but to do one working and then maybe do a voiceover explaining. So I'm not trying to do, work and talk at the same time, which I can do, but it slows you down a bit. So I haven't quite done that yet. And, maybe I should capture that on the watercolor part or the gray part, and then load that up as just something to watch and not, a live stream. Therefore, I can edit whatever I want. If it runs too long, like I know we've been going over 3 hours now.
Yeah.
I got to go.
Ron wants to just tell you that he's turned his notifications on now, so he has made this VIP notification. So,
Ron, I appreciate that. You're a champ, man.
Thanks, Ron.
Hey, Ron, excuse me. First of all, you are in Florida, correct? You should come down to the Daytona Beach Comic Con.
Yes, you should.
I don't know if maybe he's planning on that. Maybe he's been there. I'm not sure. If you do, let me know and I will get you in. Not that it's a big ticket price, but hey.
Ron says, Ocala?
Ocala.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I don't know if you can. November 4th, we're having a one-day show. You can go to Daytona Beach Comic Con, and that's spelled with 2 C's, a C on the end of comic, the C on the front of con. Not ran together. And I'm doing the web work on that and design and stuff like that. I helped Tom out. But that's November 4th. And then next year in April, we do a 2-day show. We had our first one this year, April 27th and 28th, I believe. And we're working on some guests for that show right now. That's if you have the time and the inclination to head down for a day or two. It's a very small, intimate show, but it's a lot of fun. And there's if
I can verify that.
Yeah, and people bring a lot of good comics. If you're into old comics or whatever, it's a very true comic book convention. Old school.
Old school.
Ron says that it's sad news that he's on call and covering for that weekend, though.
Okay. Yep. Well,
maybe quit his job.
No, Ron's got a very important job from what I think.
I wasn't serious about him quitting his job.
Otherwise, he would totally show up, he said.
I believe that. I really do. But yeah, so go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say AG had mentioned in the chat as well, too, that he had his notification turned on, but just had to finish making dinner.
Hey, so. I understand that. There's sometimes
I'm got to share it with the rest of us.
Well, the great thing is I do, well, I don't do it. YouTube does it, records them. I leave them up. People can come in, watch what they want. Fast forward, if you can't hang out for the full length. I know sometimes it gets a bit overbearing. I know, when I work here and I can watch a stream, if it's an hour or two, good. It keeps me at my desk, or a good podcast, like Jarrod said. Sometimes Netflix, I'll put on mostly the comedy stuff because I can listen to it. If it's a visual joke, then I usually have to hit the 15-second rewind button and see what look or, what reaction the person did. But yeah, so anyway, I guess we need to wrap this up. So I will just say again, thanks everybody who turned out tonight. And I want to say I appreciate the support, and I appreciate Jarrod and Pat for coming on tonight, and we'll definitely have them back very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a good time. And we'll get smoother. Although I think it went fairly smooth tonight. I don't think we had any hiccups. Right?
I felt good about it.
Yeah. Ron's wondering, you have a estimated stream time, or the next stream you might do?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I will. That's a very good question. If I get this to where I'm just putting the color down, that could go fairly quick, because all the heavy lifting, like I said, is from kind of what Andrew explains to me is done in the gray tone. And I'll just have to see how it goes. But no, I don't write as of right now, just to be direct. I don't. The short answer is no, I don't. I mean, it could be tomorrow if I come in here. I'll tell you what, the live streaming for me lately has been something that has helped me stay a little bit focused. So,
it's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Because I'm kind of aware of what I'm doing, and even if nobody shows up for the stream, I will kind of talk through it, so that people watching it can, kind of follow along my train of thought, or I might go off on some tangent. Imagine that, right, Jarrod? What? Yeah, me go off on a tangent. No. But it's. I've watched a few people that, they'll even say that it's a silent art stream, and I would rather hear them talk about what they're working on, what their process is, what maybe has influenced them to do this piece, or give me a story about the piece. Yep. And again, I am echoing the Future's YouTube channel, with a lot of great people there, and I've learned a lot from them. Not that I didn't know that your story was important with your work, and that goes not for just an artist, but for everybody. Everybody has a story on why they do what they do. They have a reason they do what they do. They have a story. Sometimes it's hard to find your story. So by me talking, it helps me explain my story and helps people understand me better. So not the beginning, but sometime during this, I talked about, because Pat asked me, did I always want to do this? And I will say yes. The short answer is yes. I always wanted to do art for a living, but it didn't start out as a superhero interest. It started out as a comic strip interest, and it started out with, I'm going to be a millionaire because Charles Schultz is. And then reality sets in when you finally get that break, and you're told your rate in comics and you're like, huh? But when you're younger and you're hungry, and I don't mean physically hungry, but hungry to break into business, it's like you don't care, you know. You love the medium, you're gonna do it, and you know, that's
Enjoy
just
what
all.
you do.
Exactly, you know, that's what it's all about.
If it makes you happy doing what you do, then
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, it's that love-hate relationship. Exactly. You know, that's what it's all about. Jarrod?
Nope.
Pat?
nope. John?
Wow,
No, man, we had a good time tonight. Appreciate you having us on.
weird.
Being part of the story.
Yeah, well, you know, the story continues. One day at a time.
Yep. Stay tuned to your notifications.
Yes, and I want you guys, you know, to send me your information so I can put it in the show notes in the description down below. Tomorrow sometime I'll try to edit the tags and stuff like that in the description, and I will put in, you know, plugs for whatever you guys send me that you want to plug. But feel free to go ahead and give a verbal plug now to what you all are working on, and where it can be seen, and any other things you'd like to close with.
Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, all right. Well, I am Pat Sampson. I am the co-host or host of the Longbox Crusade podcast, where we talk about comic books and many other things. We have another podcast we do is Saturday Matinee Theater, where we're looking at old Sherlock Holmes from 1954 right now, having a good time doing that, along with our other co-hosts. Jarrod is one of them, his brother Jason Alberich, and Delvin Williams. And you can find us on the Twitter at Longbox Crusade or on Facebook at Longbox Crusade. So go ahead and check us out.
Very good. And send me that information, Pat, and I will definitely put it in the description below so people will have those easy links to get to your social media and anything else you'd like.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Mr. Jarrod, yard sale artist. Hit us with it.
I've plugged quite a bit tonight, but just another plug once again for my comic, Hamilton versus Burr, A Werewolf Tale. It's available over on my Big Cartel site, which is theyardsaleartist.bigcartel.com. And you can also get it digitally on Amazon for your Kindle. Just one other podcast to plug that I do with Pat. We do On Her Majesty's Secret Podcast. You should check that out if you're a James Bond fan. But those are the two big things I want to plug right now. And I've got some more fun comic book stuff coming your way. So just, if you want to know more, follow me on Twitter at Yard Sale Artist, or on Instagram or on Facebook, all Yard Sale Artist. Thank you, John.
Yeah, and you guys make sure, you know, send me your Twitter accounts, your Facebook accounts, all that social media stuff. We'll get that put up, and until next time, I want you guys to hang out after I stop the broadcast. We can chat for a few minutes real quick before I head out and you all head your separate ways. And I would like to thank everybody who stopped by tonight and said hello, and even to those that were maybe a little shy, or like Jarrod's brother for some reason couldn't chat. I would appreciate it if you like this and you haven't yet subscribed, to subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell so you can be alerted whenever a live stream happens, either spontaneously or like this one. I will try to be more diligent about giving more time on upcoming streams, because I know that's important. Just remember that they will all be kept for the most part, unless I feel something runs off the rails really bad. And if you don't catch it live, I delete it. And other than that, thanks for everything. And this has been a good experience for me, and it continues to be a good experience. And I'd like to share as much of what I'm doing and help as many people as I can. If you're interested in inking, comic art, and there's any way I can help you, please feel free to leave a comment, reach out, either social media, whatever. And I'm pretty good about getting back to people. So in the meantime, we're going to say good night or good morning, wherever you're at. And we will see you again sometime in the future. Take care, everybody.
Bye.